You're listening to the Songs and Storytellers podcast.
Welcome, everybody, back to the podcast. It's been a hot goddamn minute, but it should be a good goddamn time today here with my friend John. It's been forever since we planned on doing this.
Hey, it was a long time ago.
I look back at texts today talking about it going back to September of last year, going back further than that.
Wow, it's been that long.
It's been a while.
Okay, well, I'm glad we finally got to do it. I'm really excited about this. So,
well, first, when I texted you today, I have a question. I was gonna ask, would tomorrow be just as good for you to do it as today? Just because tomorrow I won't be like, I gotta get up for work the next morning and we can talk for however long. Then I thought about it. I'm like, it's not like you're stopping by and then heading out of state or whatever. We can do a part 2 if
we could. Yeah,
it.
definitely. Hey, there's a lot to say.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to say.
I'm excited. And this is
we could make it like a very short, maybe like 10 episode sequence if you want. And
dude, the longest episode technically of this podcast is the Taylor Swift episode.
Of course it is, Adam.
Dude, it's 9 hours. It's split up.
Can I curse on here?
Huh?
Can I curse? It's
Absolutely.
fun. What the fuck, dude?
I can curse, but you can't. Get the fuck out of my house, dude.
Yeah, let's go.
Read the signs.
9 hours of dialogue, dude. That's like an
Well,
ASMR lore video that you could fall asleep to. Like I
Yes.
listened to like 9 hours of like Skyrim lore to fall asleep. Like that's for the hardcore Swiftie. Tay would be proud.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I know it is one of the few episodes that I edited something out of. I've been just low key proud of the fact that I never edit anything out ever.
Oh, you don't?
Unless if you specifically ask me to hey, there's one thing I think Jake talked about one thing on his podcast on when he was on here, and he was like, hey, edit that out, and I didn't. I just warped it so hard that you can't tell what he's saying. But yeah, I meant to tell you if there's anything that you want to keep off limits, let me know.
Oh yeah, dude, I can't wait to get into all my horrible views on life. And then I'll just send you, probably 99% of this is going to get checked out. So probably the intro is what you can end up releasing to everyone.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's all good.
So we're here today to talk about
We're gathered here today
for a very special episode. We're talking about Bright Eyes. I have usually, so let me just let you in on. I don't think you've listened to a full episode of the pod before. If you've heard any of it.
Full disclosure, I haven't listened to any of your podcasts.
Okay.
Not because I hate you as a person. I think you're a horrible human being. I don't want to hear your
understand.
voice, but just because I honestly just don't listen to podcasts in general.
Really?
I don't. Yeah,
That's
it was
interesting.
funny, ironically, because I had one.
Right.
Yeah, and
it's gone. I'm so bummed
Yeah,
about that.
it is-
Honestly,
it is
now that
'cause-
I'm back into gaming, I'm
I mean, honestly,
the
we have
well-rounded
some
gamer.
recorders I could send you, but I didn't want
Yes.
to keep paying the charge.
I understand.
And who knows? Maybe we'll bring it back one day. You know?
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Or just send me the recordings and I'll release them.
Yeah,
as
and then
bonus
pay for them.
episodes.
Dude, I got a super fan, man. He's gonna pay for the hosting fees. I'm down for that. Yeah, live your truth, man. Whatever you need.
With the $20 a year is mine to do whatever the fuck I
Yeah.
want with it. Is the way I feel about it.
You're gonna chop and screw it and put
Oh sure,
some crazy
I'll
shit
give it
into
to
the
Jake
audio.
and we'll just see what the
Yeah.
fuck he does with
It's
it.
not even gonna be a podcast. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a fucking a music video. Anyway, continue.
So yeah, I think you're the only person on here so far that has had their own podcast before. And you're lost to everyone listening. It was called Well-Rounded Gamer, and it was fucking great. It was done with our friend Jaspy as well, and Jacob.
Yeah, and Jacob. Yeah, it was. We really wanted. It started out as we had such bold confidence and intention to make it this really thought out, highly produced concept video game podcast where we break down video game concepts and themes and how they relate to either mental health or philosophical concepts. And then because we were all so lazy, it ended up just becoming a trending gaming conversation dialogue podcast. So it went a different direction, but either way, it was really fun. And it was like 4 seasons. So, and billions of listeners, everyone.
Yeah.
Billions.
Trillions even.
Trillions even.
Is trillions higher than billions? I actually
It
don't know.
definitely is. Certainly.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's okay.
I've never had to worry about
Dude,
either
you're a
of those
delicate
numbers
artist,
with
man. The numbers don't need to add up for you.
That's true. Bro, did I tell you at the New Year's Eve party at Jaspy's that like I found out like right then when I was showing Maddie my stuff on Spotify that like I thought I had 500 something monthly listeners, and then it turned out Spotify just glitched and I had like 6. I've been like so stoked on it. I've been sending it to people. I've been like, I don't know how we did this, guys.
Dude, that's really sad.
At one point, it was...
What a way to start the new year, man.
At one point, it was 420 listeners, and I texted the International Ooze group. I'm like, blaze it. And Josh Davis is like, dude, that's fucking awesome. I'm like, I know. I don't know how it happened. And it was a glitch. And I've Googled it to see if other people have like experienced it. And nothing. It was just to me.
It was just
my own personal
Maybe
ring
for
cloud.
like 5 seconds, you had like a random 500 people subscribe.
It was there for like a month.
It was there for a month?
Yeah, for a while.
Maybe
I checked every day.
Maybe someone paid some like company out in like India or China to just like subscribe to you, because you could pay for like likes or stuff like that. Maybe
Well,
just pay for
also,
subscriptions for you.
I mean, I haven't heard back from the internet community about this happening to them, but I checked Jake's SL Noise shit recently.
Yeah.
It says he has 561 monthly listeners.
There's no way that's true, though,
no
right?
way. No. Deserves
Unless
that
he's
and
a
more.
listener and he's like listening to it. No, because it counts. I would imagine it counts like individual IPs or accounts, right? When it comes to the monthly listeners. I don't know. But that's funny. Yeah. Well, hey, you got one more, bud.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
You got at least 7 now.
That means the world, honestly. Yeah. All right, so we're talking about Bright Eyes. I kind of notoriously don't like do any research. I'm gonna turn these speakers off. I don't like do any research on the like bands or artists we're gonna talk about, or I don't take notes about it because I want like the conversation to be as natural and fluid as possible. But since this is a very different episode of the podcast in a few different ways, one. You're one of my favorite people, but you're the first. You're one of the
same.
You are the first non-musician on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh wait, no. Well, but
you know what?
my
Fuck
mom,
that. Whoever you're about to say, I have less musical talent than they do. I called it. They're not beating me, dude. I don't care. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
I'm first.
John has less musical talent than my dead grandma and my mom.
They were on your podcast?
They were. Yeah.
What was their musical choice?
So I wanted to talk about Christmas music with somebody, and the person I wanted to have on fell through. They got sick.
Okay.
And so I was like, it could be fun. Just like I was in Mississippi with my mom and grandma.
That's kind of nice, and you have that like encapsulated in time,
right?
know?
It's like the only long form conversation with my grandma that like exists.
Wow,
now.
that's actually really, really nice. That's I didn't expect that story to be so sentimental.
Yeah,
that's great, man. Yeah, I would love to listen to them. Yeah, when I decide to listen to podcasts, that's gonna be first on my list. Yeah, I got you, dude.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
But I also this is every episode so far has been me talking about an artist that I've been a big fan of for a long time.
Okay.
So this is like the first one that like I don't have like a lot of history with.
Dude, you crammed in a whole bunch of history within like a short period of time. This dude's catalog is extensive.
Yeah.
And and it's also really dense songwriting. You know what I mean? So it's adding that to consume all of that enough to be prepared for a podcast about it is pretty impressive. So kudos to you.
Thank you. We'll see how prepared I actually am. In a way I've found with like doing this podcast, it like scratches a weird itch that exists for me.
That's what I'm here for, man.
Like things are I don't know. I feel like I'm hearing weird things in the room.
That's probably LSD I spiked your drink with.
It is. Thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
We need to keep this interesting. But I grew up doing church music, like worship leader or whatever, and I would have to learn songs all the time. I would have to drill songs into my head to be able to like perform them in front of people.
Okay.
And so when I sit down and go like, okay, I gotta like really familiarize myself with this artist and this amount. I don't know. It scratches a weird itch for me. Like I could still do that thing that I used to do a little bit.
Was it enjoyable doing that for this episode? Like, did you enjoy going through it? Yeah.
Oh, it's enjoyable every single time.
That's awesome.
It is also sometimes, notoriously, I make things like homework assignments that they're usually really big expectations. Of like,
Okay.
Like last night, I had 3 albums to listen to still, and I'm like, am I going to be able to have meaningful conversation? But it's not. Going forward, I want the podcast to be kind of a different format than it has been. I love the way it has been, but it has to change. And since it has to change, I might as well roll with it and change it into some cool things. And this is one of the things, is talking with people about something that they have more history with
and that you're unfamiliar with. I actually really like that as a concept. I think because then it's more about your skill set and your ability to be a good facilitator, rather than like a knowledgeable expert in the subject matter. And then that's cool. I'm excited to be a part of your evolution, for this podcast.
Polish my best person badge.
Oh, dude, you don't even have to polish it, man. That shit could be just full of dirt and grime, and you'd kill it. Yeah, don't worry about it. That badge is good, as unseeable as it is. You got it.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. Also, I was telling Jake, I'm excited to sit down and like talk about this musician with John, but also we haven't sat down and just had like a long conversation.
We haven't. This is the first time we've actually hung out.
Yeah.
Like just you and I. It's always within the...
We're friends, but we never hang out one-on-one.
It's always within the context of like the group. But dude, we're the paradigm just shifted, dude.
Yes.
We're part of the solution, not the problem anymore.
John is a co-host from
yeah,
now on.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait.
Dude.
So I would love to be part of a musical podcast with no musical talent. I would shine.
Bring the perspective.
The absurdity alone is enough to make me feel good about it.
So, also, just for listeners, going forward, I want to bring local artists in the Houston scene on the podcast to get them to talk about their stuff and highlight their shit. So it'll be like that going forward as well. But anyway.
Oh, also going forward, we will be only speaking in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just wanted to say that
It's over.
I got you, man. You start. You start with the Portuguese. I can't fucking say.
So usually I don't like take notes because I wanted to feel like a comment. But there were some things with this, since I don't have so much history with it, I wanted to make sure and write them down. Oh, these are work notes. So I'm going to change that real quick. There we go.
Did you change it to fun notes?
I have so many notes on my phone. And I have folders for notes, but I still have thousands of loose notes.
Wow, thousands?
Thousands.
Oh, that would give me a panic attack.
I'm
so worried. Okay, I'm not too bad in my personal life, but digitally, like my emails are pristine.
Damn.
I have a system I have tiers, like main email I give for formal stuff, and then second tier where it's like not so formal, and then third is just like spam stuff, like if I want to sign up for a rewards card or something. But even the spam ones, I like clean out the inbox. I can't have an unread email. I'm crazy with that shit.
We need to be better friends.
I need to give you the panic attacks I have from the digital clutter.
Yeah, I need whatever's in your DNA. I need the good OCD.
Man. I'm like, I talk to people about file directories sometimes, and they're like, "What the fuck do you mean?" I'm like, John, dude, you need to organize your files so you can reference them and have a system, and no one understands my language.
I think that way, but then when it comes to things that like I actually need to do it with, I'm really bad. So like my mail app right now, I
don't even want to hear that number.
68,220 unread emails.
Louise! Adam, 68,000
no.
unread emails?
Wait. That's just my professional
That's just what your phone can load at this time.
My personal email is 118,000.
Oh my goodness! What the heck? Mine are 0, 0, and 0 right now, dude. That's
so good.
Crazy. Okay,
You get the best. Best person badge.
I do. Yeah, at least I have email talent. You know, no musical talent. But what I don't have in musical talent, I make for in digital talent.
Well, when you're really good at organization shit, it comes down to like you get things done, and that rules. That makes you the best person in the room. Absolutely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You notice how I didn't say no. I just took the compliment. I'm learning how to do that too. Yeah.
More people should just take the compliment.
Hell yeah, dude.
So, there's not much of a steady structure with these conversations. Usually, I like to go through the albums of the artists in chronological order. But we're not doing, listeners, whoever's being anal about this. First of all, plug it up.
Anal right now.
Yeah,
plug that shit up, dude.
Plug it up and listen. We're not doing all of the Bright Eyes albums. We're doing all of the ones that is just Bright Eyes, except for 1 or 2, I think. And we're not doing his solo stuff.
I will be referencing the solo stuff.
Okay.
Intermittently in our I think I will, because that stuff is that's like, what is it, Bright Eyes is the gateway, to the cocaine that is Conor Oberst's solo stuff for me personally.
I bet his solo stuff is so good, and
it's way different because it's much more personal. Like Bright Eyes is definitely written from like more of a third person, kind of like a spectator of stories and events. And his personal stuff is definitely written from him as the first person from when I listen. So it's a different dimension of his songwriting.
That's
really
so wild because just from what I've experienced of it in full so far, his Bright Eye stuff is very personal. Like every single, I can see how it's a lot of it is like an observer, like someone just walking around and describing the world as they see it and feel it, and like surrealist and that kind of like
a little esoteric too, I would say. Yeah,
and really has a lot of, like I texted you the other day about him being like the Bob Dylan of our generation. Yeah, as far as I can tell. And
I mean, Rolling Stone said it, which is they make a lot of lists. They're big at lists, 100 that, 100 this, so it's nice that they just focused on one.
So they said he's the Bob Dylan of the generation?
that was what the quote was. I better fucking fact check. I'm like 99% sure that the Rolling Stone quote was that he was the next Bob Dylan, like this generation's next Bob Dylan. It was pretty cool. It was profound, and I think that kind of exposure and high level critique was it probably contributed to his meteoric success at that time, So, because that was when he was really making like the early Bright Eyes albums. So it's pretty cool.
So that quote was like right after Lifted.
Yeah, I think around that time, like Digital Ash, Digital Earn, they were all in this period of like I think the same like 3 or 4 years, which is pretty impressive considering the magnitude of their impact on like the indie scene at that time, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, actually, so that's where more or less my Bright Eyes journey technically starts, even though there's just huge gaps in it. But one of the things I like to do with guests when we talk about bands, artists, and shit is go from the beginning. Where'd you get your start with Bright Eyes?
Yeah, so my sister is a big influence in my life. My sister Sarah. I have 2 sisters. I love both of them, but Sarah her and I were very close. I was around like I think 14, 15 at the time. I was in high school, and she would send me music periodically, and she sent me a lot of the music that I've grown to love. And I think part of it was because I really admired her and her style of living and the art she really admired. But a lot of the music she sent really resonated with me as well. Like she sent me the Mountain Goats first album.
Oh, wow.
She sent me a Shins mix that she made and burned on a CD. Like she would send me burnt CDs of this stuff because we didn't have like MP3 yet, or it wasn't like widespread like that. But she instilled the importance of how much Bright Eyes meant to her. And so I listened to it, and she sent me I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning out. And of course that like it was a commercial success because of how catchy and relatable and approachable the music was, from like sound design to lyrics and stuff. Like it was definitely an approachable album. And I fell into it. You know what I mean? Like from the first song, At the Bottom of Everything, just the conversation that he had on the plane before, that whole kind of skit. And he did that intentionally. I'm paraphrasing, but I think he said something like Conor Oberst would do that to dissuade casual listeners from listening to his music, which I think was really cool. And he still does it. All of his albums still have like at least a minute to like 2 minute long skit that generally is related. It's always like related to the theme of the album, so it's interesting. And yeah, all the songs I just memorized by heart. And at the same time, because it was a couple years after that album came out, but she also sent me his self-titled solo album, Conor Oberst, and that was equally as impactful for me. And so those two albums really defined my adolescence, in addition to like Immortal Technique. And like I had some crazy ass eclectic shit going on with the music I was listening to when I was a teenager. But yeah, so that's where yeah, exactly, that's where I first got exposed to it.
So like timeline, like around 2005 is when she...
Yeah, 2005, 2006, like around that time, yeah.
Sick, dude.
Yeah.
So...
And I think, when did the album come out? Do you have that up?
Yeah, 2005.
Okay. Oh, so maybe it wasn't that. It may have just come out like a year or two before she sent it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, like, how much older is your sister than you?
My sister is 13 years older than me.
Wow.
Yeah. So, she is 13.
Damn.
It's a wide gap. Hey, you know what it is.
Yeah. So... How old were you? We're close to the same age, but how old were you when she?
Say again.
How old were you when she sent
when
you?
When she sent it? Oh, like 14, 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, how did you hear about him?
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
My girlfriend in high school made one of my. This makes me sound too cool. One of my girlfriends in high school sent me or gave me a mixed CD.
That's
because
badass.
that was the shit. It was the shit to do.
You had a harem in high school.
no, dude, not even. No, not even. But no, she gave me a mixed CD, and there were like some just cutesy indie at the time love songs on them, like "I'll Follow You Into the Dark" by Death Cab.
Oh hell yeah!
I
think she sent me that too.
I'm trying to think of what else was on the CD. It was Paramore songs and shit. But First Day of My Life was on that mixed CD.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is adorable. It sounds like it would be on Juno or something.
Oh, definitely.
And
yeah.
I liked it and I listened to it just on that CD, but I never really investigated the artist any deeper than that for whatever reason. I'm not sure I like had... She probably like wrote the artists on the mixed CD.
Were your parents pretty restrictive about what you listened to?
No, not really.
Because I know a lot of people down here, and I'm not used to it. It was just different for me in my household. But a lot of people down here were restricted from watching certain types of like television or movies or video games and stuff because of the Bible.
Yeah. So my as it turns out, a lot of this podcast has been me kind of unpacking my growing up Christian shit.
Okay.
And so thanks for bringing it up, dude. But yeah, I grew up in like a Christian family, household, whatever. But kind of as time went on, like my mom took me to church. Like the first time I went to church in I don't even remember the first time I went to church. I was pretty much going to church my whole life, but I got more serious about it than anyone else in my family was as of like being a teenager.
So you were like a devout at that period, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if anyone limited the music that I listened to, it was me, because I like took all of the words that the youth pastor said, like, you're putting messages in your mind from the music and shit.
Being programmed, that kind
of
100%.
Because
I remember Jasper was saying that he wasn't allowed to listen to Conor Oberst, and he also
very interesting.
Yeah, because Conor Oberst is he's a overt atheist and
He's
just
a lot
super left. And so he was restricted from listening, like it was on his no list. But he was also like you at a young age, he was for it. You know what I mean? So he also chose to avoid that type of music as well. Yeah.
Well, like growing up, it wasn't. There were things like I can tell you I remember listening to like My Chemical Romance and feeling like this. Oh, this makes me feel not so close to God or whatever as a teenager. And it was just like something within me. It wasn't like this music is evil. It was just like, for me, this doesn't make me feel close to the thing that I want to feel close to. And it was a very like personal kind of thing.
That's interesting. Like if it didn't have that connection to like God or religion at that point, it's not that necessarily it had to be an anti-God,
Right.
but if it didn't have that common theme, then it wasn't of interest to you.
Yeah, if it was like it was kind of it came down to a feeling ultimately, because you could have said like yeah, but some of this other stuff you were listening to said these kinds of things, and that didn't make you feel like it was far from the light or whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, dude, I appreciate you sharing that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah, I'm not
Cool.
kidding. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, like
Yeah. All right, we'll see you later, man. That was great.
yeah, it was good talk. But yeah, it was. I considered myself to be really logical about it. My girlfriend, we like to joke that Christianity or the Bible was my special interest growing up. It's like undiagnosed.
What are your
whatever
hobbies?
I am.
So the Bible, Christianity.
Truly,
No, it
truly,
is,
that's most of
that's
what
like
I
a
wanted
lot
to
of people,
do.
right? Like that's like a common thing.
Probably, but I didn't feel like that when I was growing up. But also, I was obsessed. Like I would wake up early, literally and metaphorically, to just dive into the Bible as much as possible. Anyway, but
I never read the Bible.
Get out.
No, seriously, you know what? And I want to read it, just
whatever.
just to say I did, like to see, because it is the most influential book in modern history, right? So it makes sense to kind of have a little bit more context of, hey, what's wrong with you? What's wrong? I want to know what's wrong.
Where
with
it
people.
all, at least
No, I was kidding.
knowing like where stuff comes from.
Yeah, like when we watched that movie Mother.
Oh, dude.
I could have known all of the stuff that was going to happen.
Man.
Major spoiler alerts in the Bible if you're reading it for the purpose of understanding the movie Mother.
Jake went into, like, he's like, Aronofsky wrote this as, like, an allegory for the Bible, but, like, looking up interviews with Aronofsky and shit, he would say, like, it's about a lot of things. It's about loss. It's about fear of someone breaking into your home. I'm like, maybe Jake had a personal conversation with you, and that's how I found out.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I could see it because it was allegory to a certain extent, right? Okay,
a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very. It seemed very like logical to me. I'm like, okay, I didn't even consider it Christianity. I just considered it like the truth. If this is the most important thing in the universe, and then I want to dig the deepest into things that are focused on that. Like I considered it a very like logical thing.
That's great, man. Because I didn't have one of the reasons I think I gravitated to a lot of the sad and like I was always been a super sad music fan.
I have
like,
too.
Yeah,
honestly.
it like super relate and like also like I don't know like specifically with Bright Eyes and stuff. A big theme was always kind of like dealing with this absence of feeling whole because he definitely wasn't religious, and I think that it's a very relatable for me to have that feeling of not feeling whole, to always be constantly searching for something that completes you. And it's a big theme in his music, is almost like navigating in a quest to find that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
All right, babe.
So yeah, I was thinking about it today, listening to some of his earlier stuff specifically, and I'm like, one of the things I like heard from people about my own shit over the years, polish, but give my best person badge back, put it on my nipple and rub it a lot. What I've heard over the years from people that my solo shit reminds them of Bright Eyes
Really?
stuff. Yeah, and I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. I don't really know much about that character, but cool.
I could see that in your lyric structure. Definitely in your song design, the way it sounds, and your lyrics too. I could see that. I could see that resemblance. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
But
You're my hero.
oh fuck yeah.
No
dude.
longer, yeah, no longer. Connor.
We're talking about fuck on our Obers.
Yeah.
So we're talking about
the Bright Eyes episode. We're shit on Bright Eyes.
we're talking about the artist presently known as Adam Anderson, who believed he had 590 listeners for a while.
Dude, you did for a month. That's a long time.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
It was a mountaintop experience.
Hey, turnover's part of the game, you know.
You rolled the punches, baby.
Yeah,
you know how it
man.
goes. But yeah, I listening through his earlier stuff today. I was like, I wasn't listening to Bright Eyes, but I was listening to stuff like Bright Eyes. It's probably cringe how Christian it sounds at this point. But there's this guy named Preston Phillips that I loved his stuff a lot. And the more I think about it, I'm like, that was if you like Bright Eyes, you'll like that kind of shit. And but yeah, I heard about him pretty early on, but I didn't. It didn't go anywhere else from there because I didn't have any friends who were super big Bright Eyes fans.
Yeah, without the social obligation or pressure, it can be difficult to get into it. Like without my sister, who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and your sister's been sharing music with you for a long time. That's like a thing you'll have.
Definitely.
That rules, dude.
Still as well, because she's less into new music now, because she's just really busy with her major part of her other life, like her life. But we still share. When we do discover new music, it's generally we're aligned on liking it and stuff. So yeah, definitely still there, that connection with music. She actually just texted me recently because she finally got to listening to the new Bright Eyes album, the Five Dice album, and she really enjoyed it. Like it was a curve for her because she said like it took her a little bit to get into it, but then she started to kind of understand the brilliance of it, which was cool because I think it's really good. I like all their stuff. I'm the type of fan of them that no matter what they make, it's kind of just like I am for it, and but like I still want to learn to appreciate it for the difference it is. You know what I mean? Like there's no like, oh, their next album is gonna be shit. For me, it doesn't really work like that. Like the next album is just another imprint of the expression of the artists.
Yeah.
And I'm going to appreciate it no matter what. I just kind of have to learn how to appreciate it because that's how much I kind of understand their caliber of artistry to be. So that's kind of how it works. I have a couple artists like that throughout different types of medium, not just music, but he's one of those for me.
One of the episodes of this podcast I'm really like proud of is I got to have one of my like all-time favorite singer-songwriters on the podcast with me.
I think I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I told everybody.
Yeah.
For a while. I was super stoked on it. But his name's Derek Webb, and we had a really good conversation about like songwriting and he put it this way. He said like they're like people have their trustworthy artists where like I'm gonna follow them through like whatever they release,
like no matter what,
because like I it seems like up to that point at least they have been like authentic with their expression to the point where like I feel a connection to all of it. But yeah, consider those trustworthy artists.
That's awesome. How did you get him on? Did you just like reach out to him on Instagram or something?
Yeah, I'm on his Patreon, and I think I DM'd him on Instagram or something.
That's awesome. That's really great to kind of share a conversation like that with one of like literally you said your favorite songwriter, right? Like
definitely one of them.
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm happy for you. That's great.
Thanks, man. Yeah. My
your badge is
just
shining, dude.
bigger.
It's like as you speak, the dirt is coming off it.
The room cannot contain the size of my head.
Yeah.
At this point, whichever head you think it is, that's the one that it is.
Dude, it's because you got a big brain. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so if we were to start with the first one that you had me listen to, I don't know. What do you have to say about a collection of songs?
To be honest, completely honest, I feel like a bad fan saying this, but I have not extensively listened to a collection of songs, and it was only until recently that I started listening to Fevers and Mirrors more.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, I started, like I said, with I'm Wide Awake, Digital Ash, and Digital Urn, and then got into his solo stuff, which I've listened to everything. And then some of his peripheral projects, not Desperados. I'm actually not too familiar, but Monsters of Folk, which is a really, really good collaboration with, I think, M. Ward and Mike Mogus, who are two members of Bright Eyes as well. No, sorry, not Mike not M. Ward. M. Ward is his own thing. But yeah, what was I saying? What was the first question?
I forgot the first question.
Dude, this is not good. We both forget the question.
You should listen to episodes with me and Jake. It's just nothing gets talked about.
Oh yeah, we don't want to talk about. Yeah, so I started with that, and I didn't start, and we didn't have the internet, so I couldn't really discover the old stuff without buying the CD. But so I did buy the CD of Lifted. That was the first CD I bought. Like, my sister didn't burn that for me, and she wasn't even into that CD. So Lifted is actually, from his early years, Lifted is my personal favorite. I hit the thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my personal. It's just the rat. Don't worry about the rat. It's my personal favorite. However, I don't think it's Bright Eyes' best. I think, like, musically and just kind of almost like in a mathematical way. I think I told you Casadega, I think, is their peak of their musical prowess at that time. But personally, Lifted or The Stories in the Soil, like, that is that's my shit. So I love that. Yeah.
You say that's like your top?
Yeah, I think that's my top from Bright Eyes. Although their last two albums, like I said, man, they all mean something to me. You know what I mean? It's kind of difficult, but I think that one is the most significant nostalgia for me, because I did also listen to it at a part of my life where I grew, and then the music became interwoven with my growth and development as a human. You know,
dude, I've got bands like that. It's where over time you're like, are you writing the songs of my life, or is my life following?
Yeah,
songs?
What's yours? Like, what?
Oh,
what
the bands.
Yeah, what kind of help? Or like like a major one at least.
I would say the biggest one is probably this band called The Classic Crime.
Okay.
And
they're like a reggae band, right?
They're emo rock.
Okay.
I guess you would call it. I don't know what to call it at this point.
Hey, dude, let's call it that. Are they shoegaze?
No.
Okay.
They're like angsty. Emo shit.
Angsty emo shit.
And now
sounds like my sex tape title.
Fuck yeah, dude. But yeah, a lot of the bands that I had like that growing up were like either people would say now that was like youth group music, but at the time it was like I'm more into these bands than anyone around me.
Were they Christian themed bands? That one specifically was?
Classic Crime was early on and kind of expanded their beliefs and shit.
Okay. So it was like it was an evolution of them as well into like different types of sounds, and maybe, like you said, like theme, right? Like it wasn't necessarily a strict Christian theme at that point.
Right. And it the Classic Crime, it was more an unspoken thing, but like the other two bands that were like that for me was Switchfoot and Reliant K.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with both. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So if you like those and would like to hear two people talk about them for a long time, I have episodes of those.
Oh heck yeah, man.
The Switchfoot one is wild. That guest had some crazy stories.
Reliant K. I haven't heard that name in so long. Dude, it's been so long since I heard that name. That's crazy.
Honestly, Jake talked about recently watching this movie called Love and Mercy, where it talked about Brian Wilson, and he was like, "Are they an influence on Reliant K?" And I was like, "Dude, yes, that's
okay."
But anyway, yeah, those were kind of those bands and artists for me growing up. But that's really cool that Bright Eyes was like that for you. So like you said you started with I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning.
Yeah.
So how did that, first of all, can you like see that track list or go through it in your head without looking at it?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I believe so. It's been a while because I stopped listening to it a while ago because I listened to that maybe like I can't even count like
I
so many
understand.
times.
I listened to albums into the fucking
Yeah,
ground.
so I'm the type of person with music. I'm super into understanding one album, and I'll listen to that fucking album every day for a year.
John, we were destined to be friends.
Yeah,
We were.
Yeah,
I did
like-
that with Mr. Morale. Dude,
Oh, heck
it was
yeah.
all I could talk about for like 3 months.
Dude, and Kendrick is like that. I know we're not going to start. All right, this is Kendrick and Lamar.
Dude,
no,
finally.
no.
Surprise, we're not. I finally got you on
You
here.
unveil, you
we're
take
talking about
off like the curtains to your thing, and it's just like a Kendrick poster. You're on Kendrick. Kendrick.
You
Radio.
thought you picking Pimp a Butterfly at the beginning was a coincidence. You thought it was free will.
There's no such thing, man.
There we go.
What is it? Yeah. I forgot what I was fucking saying. Oh, the track list. I just listened to it so many times, so I'm pretty sure I know. At the bottom of everything, second is we're nowhere and it's now. Are you looking at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tend to like keep them up on my
third is New World Order. Also, song for the New World Order. 4 is Lua. 5 is Train Underwater. 6 is fucking.
This wasn't a test, but now you're being tested and judged.
Okay.
By me and all future listeners.
I don't think. I think maybe 6 is. Oh, 6 is the major single that you brought up before. Okay, First Day of My Life.
First Day of My Life.
7 is going to be. I'm thinking Poison Oak. Poison Oak is 8. Right.
Poison Oak is not the next one.
It's not. Okay. The next one after that is Poison Oak, right?
No.
Oh shit. Oh no.
Honestly, bad respect. I don't know how many albums I could do this with.
Oh yeah, no, because like dude, I used to know it back and forth. What is 7? 7 is shit. What is 7?
Another traveling song.
Dude, why the fuck did I think that was on? I was gonna say that, and I thought it was on Conor Oberst's like self-titled album. That's what I thought it was.
I mean, when
Damn.
you dive that deep into an artist, eventually their stuff swirls together.
Yeah, shit.
So
Road to Joy is the last. I know that.
Road to Joy is the last.
Yeah.
Poison Oak is right before Road to Joy, and Landlocked Blues.
Landlocked
is after another
Blues.
traveling song.
Ah.
So I can tell you my like things with this album.
I would love to hear your thoughts on it, especially someone who's like a new listener. It's like asking someone who just played like Legend of Zelda, like what their experience was for the first time. You know, I really want to hear what you have to say about it.
So you're gonna be disappointed. 'Cause I tried to listen to all the ones that, like you said, being locked to you in chronological order, and so I haven't listened to this whole album in a while. But I have a playlist. I have lots of playlists, but I have a playlist called "Fuck What You Like." And it's a playlist of songs that end up stuck in my head, even if I haven't heard them for a while.
Okay.
And I just think it's interesting to see what my subconscious has to tell me.
Yeah, dude.
And
I'm here for it.
There's one Bright Eyes song that has made it onto that list.
I'm so proud of you right now.
It is Lua.
Oh shit.
And
okay.
Lua, it is like I find myself like humming it, just walking around. I'm like, that's so, like it's so raw and like.
Let me hear you hum it. Yeah, all right, dude. Yeah, that was a test, and you passed that.
Dude, my head is bigger than this room now. We are in danger. Yeah, I really like Lua. I really like the songwriting on a lot of songs on this album.
No, Lua is great, man. What do you like? What do you like about it? Just like, do you like the catchiness to it? Because it is super catchy, but also the lyrics are really. They're dark.
They're really dark.
They're super dark. Yeah.
I love how it sounds like he's like sitting on a porch somewhere, maybe not even with a guitar, but just like it's exactly what's happening to him that night.
Got a coffee and a paper, have my own conversations.
And,
I
like,
love it.
Honestly, being a Taylor Swift fan, being a fan of music, you find this out, but I found out being a Taylor Swift fan, the most like impactful and successful artists have so much immediate like imagery in their music. Mm-hmm. They're like,
and they don't lose it in subsequent albums. You know, I think like a lot of successful artists, even like in the same scene that specifically Bright Eyes was in, like to me, and this is just me because I'm not a super fan like I am of their music, but like Death Cab for Cutie for me really fell off at a certain point after after Plans. It was like they ran out of plans. They stopped planning things. You know what I mean? And then the Shins after Wincing the Night Away, it was I think Simple Song was the biggest single after that, and maybe some super fans were into it, but I just really couldn't get into their newer stuff. But for me, Bright Eyes was never like that. It was always so. It's almost like it just. He had this ability, and then the musicians had this ability to Nate Walcott and Mike Mogus. They had the ability to just kind of open up a portal whenever they needed to, and it was really special. But I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, continue. Lua, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying.
I'm so sorry.
No, I loved what
I'm
you
so
were
sorry.
saying. That's why you're here. You are here to cut me off.
All right, shut up really
That's
quick.
it.
No, I was kidding.
Yeah, it's
All right.
time.
All right, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
I'm really curious about because I haven't grown with any of these songs except for First Day of My Life.
Yeah.
Obviously. You said you feel like you grew with these songs over time.
Definitely.
What from this album do you have the podcast is called Songs and Storytellers. Do you have any stories about any of these songs in particular?
Yeah, I was just super into this girl at like the time where I was listening to Bright Eyes like heavy for the first time, and it wasn't even about her at that point. It kind of she just became like this kind of this idyllic version, you know, of a girl, but. Just the songs about heartbreak and dealing with the loneliness and sadness, like all of those themes really hit home. And then when I did ask her out, or like in a romantic way, she wasn't into it, and so that really hurt. But it was kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy at that time.
This album is kind of like
teenager.
Good for being excited about asking, and good for when you're.
That should be that's
after
the AI
rejection.
generated. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think a big thing with this album is it's super inspired by New York City, specifically like the Greenwich Village, West Village, like Lower Manhattan area. I believe that Conor Oberst, he went to New York and was so impacted. I know we keep using impacted, but he was super influenced by the vibe and the artistic energy in New York and what it offered him. And he wrote that album partly inspired by his time in New York, from what I can recall.
That's
from reading
fucking
about
cool.
it.
So
Yeah.
you knew a lot of these places like personally.
Yeah,
or-
yeah. I think he mentions a whole bunch. Anything he mentions New York wise, I think he just mentions Brooklyn. I think he mentions just going to Brooklyn and leaving Manhattan. But anything New York in there, it's just super. That also hits home for me, especially because I love New York City. It was always my favorite place in the world.
How much? I know we just joke around about you being from New York all the time.
You do. It's a running. It's just it became part of my social identity at this point, which I'm unreally sure
and
how.
Jake has his names for people. Just stick with them.
John from New York.
From New York, give me a coffee.
Yeah, walk in here.
Yeah,
It's like, bro, shut up.
all that shit.
No one talks like that. I love you, Jake.
So, how much time did you spend in? Did you grow up in New York? I really don't know.
I grew up in Long Island, New York.
Okay.
Around an hour and a half drive. Sorry, an hour and a half drive from New York City, and around like an hour train ride. So growing up, I went to school and everything in Long Island, which was always in the shadow. A lot of people who were born in the city in like the boomer years or like the 70s and 80s, they would have families and they would move to Long Island because at that time it was an affordable alternative to living in the city. It was also safer. The schools were nicer. The police, it was a little bit more safe, I guess you could say, than the city at that time. And so I always grew up in the city, but I always went to the city on special occasions. My aunt lived in the city. She lived in for like 30 years almost. She lived in Manhattan. She was a registered nurse, and they had like this building that they rented out specifically to the hospital staff in near Hell's Kitchen. I think it was like 10th and 59th Street. And I would always go there for like Thanksgiving. So I would have holidays in Manhattan. And there was really, dude, there was nothing like that for me. For me, I know a lot of people from around the country and the world, they think of holidays and they think of New York, but to actually like be a part of that culture and go into the city when there's Thanksgiving going on or the city when there's some energy about the holidays in New York that are really special. And so I just like I was always very involved in the city, and since I was a little kid, it was like my dream. I wanna live in the city and be a photographer in the city. That was what I wanted to do when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
I wanted to live in the city. I wanted to be a photographer and a journalist, and I do none of those things right now, which is okay. It's okay,
I
but
consider you unofficial photographer for actually official
photographer,
official,
dude.
100%.
Fucking get that badge off. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No,
There you go, bro.
yeah, no. I appreciate that, man. I love photography.
You're the only reason anything
I
Mouskin
manifested
did
it.
looks
Five-year-old
cool.
me manifested it, dude.
Fuck yeah,
yeah,
dude.
dude. I had a vision board and everything.
I mean, I guess I don't know if I'm doing. I guess I've done one thing that I wanted to do since I was 5 years old. Technically, or
Have this podcast. I'm glad I could help you.
I was definitely
This
thinking about
episode.
podcasts at 5 years old.
Yeah, no, this
Hell yeah.
episode though. Not
Dude, if I could just get you on, God, my life would be complete.
don't know who he is or what it means yet, but
Bro,
I fucking feel
It
it.
was a vision from the prophets, bro.
But yeah, no, sorry. What yeah, what were you gonna say? You had one thing that you did do.
Oh yeah, I guess like write a book, like finish writing a book.
Oh, so
Then
you wrote a book?
Yeah.
How is this the first
didn't.
time I'm hearing about this?
Well, I haven't really put it anywhere, but so like it's
Self-published?
not published.
Just
It's
you have a
essentially-
manuscript though.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's essentially a manuscript. It's essentially like I wrote a lot of words about a thing, and it's my like I kind of woke up one day in 2018, I think, and was like, okay, the only way I knew to identify myself up to that, like recently at that point in life, was like, I am a Christian and now I am not. And what happened to that? And so I wrote 125 pages about it or something.
I'd love to read it if I ever get
Thanks.
a chance to. Yeah.
Okay. I'll send it right to
Yes,
you.
dude. Yeah, definitely send the. You have like a Word document or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a.
Can you
it's a
type it up
file.
on a typewriter and send it?
Oh,
Is
dude.
you okay with that?
Honestly, I noticed
cuneiform,
listening
maybe?
through his stuff that he was talking about like being on a typewriter. I'm like, how many fucking artists have like found this new like path of creativity through just making writing harder, like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
a fucking typewriter.
Yeah.
I think Taylor Swift's latest album, a lot of it had to do with her like typing shit out on a typewriter. But
Interesting. I didn't know that. She probably has a nice typewriter.
she probably it's
That'd be funny if
It
it was
is
like
one
a
of the-
jalopy. Like
Huh?
she wanted to experience the struggle of typing.
Oh, it's extremely
It's like
shitty.
the ribbon doesn't even like have full ink or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be funny, man. If Taylor Swift's typewriter is just shit.
now she has like massive fingers.
Yeah.
she's been like working out her fingers. Has to get a bigger guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like what I guess specifically, so to start with, to just dive into it. Jake showed me at the bottom of the first time I heard a Bright Eyes song and knew it was Bright Eyes was at the bottom of everything.
Okay.
And me and Jake were just, for some reason, he was telling me about songs that meant a lot to him, and he mentioned Bright Eyes. I'm like, who is that? I've heard of that. And he's like, oh my God, you have to hear it. And so he showed it to
Jake
me.
was a big fan.
He was telling me earlier he doesn't consider himself a huge fan, but like the songs that he likes, he loves.
Okay.
But everything else he could care less
You
about.
can take it or leave it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's Jake with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not super surprised. But in the best way, we love you, Jake. Jake of SL Noise fame.
So he showed you at the bottom, and then what?
Yeah, he showed me in his. We were hanging out in his car, and I was like, "Damn, that's fucking wild." So like, this was your first taste of Bright Eyes, and the first song on this album is to weed out the casual listeners.
Yeah.
So like, what was it like for you hearing that for the first time? Because today I think I texted the Telegram and told him this, but like one of the things I was supposed to work on with my client, or one of the things on his activity schedule, was like technician picks a song, and I picked this one. I'm like, I know he's gonna struggle with it.
Oh,
I know he's gonna be like, is this over yet or whatever? And we had to stop it like 3 or 4 times, but eventually we got to the end of it, and I'm like, did you like it? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, cool.
That's really funny.
Yeah. But yeah, what was it? What was it like hearing that did you hear that song and go like, oh fuck, I'm into this? Or was it like, that was weird? What's next?
For me, I think when it comes to listening in general to music, and this has always been true, when I hear something, I know that I like it. Like, I know it's something special. There's something that clicks in my head where it's like, oh, this is something of quality to me. I understand that. And that's kind of the loop and the feedback loop for me that makes me listen to things again and again, unless I don't like something and someone's like, dude, you need to just keep going with it. And then I'll try it. Like anything from dubstep, I couldn't at first get into it. But now I respect dubstep. I think it had its moment in history, and it's okay that it's done.
Yeah.
But I liked that it had a good run, and I enjoyed some of the music. But anyway, for that song specifically, because that's the introduction song, the juxtaposition really hit me, and I didn't really understand what juxtaposition was at that time.
Right.
But the fact that there were these really dark and cryptic lyrics in such a really melodic and upbeat structure disoriented me in a really entertaining way.
Yeah.
You know, and he's talking about my favorite, I remember this forever, that the first time I listened to it was like we must memorize 9 numbers and deny we have a soul. And that was just like, and he's saying it so upbeat and happy and friendly. And I think that disorientation was really like a great way to jump into it and just become a lifelong fan. I think that literally I think that was the first actual song I listened to from him. And I understood it. You know what I mean?
Man,
yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
To get that I wonder how I would have responded to this
as like a
14
kid. Yeah, as like a teenager. Yeah, I was it's not a good thing, and it's not the best thing for my parents or my mom rather but I like watched like Requiem for a Dream when I was like 5.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I just watched that for the first time recently.
And it was a lot, right?
Oh, dude. I asked
I had exposure, things that I shouldn't have been exposed to artist wise when I was young, and it definitely opened me up to new things as an adult that maybe some people were kind of reticent about.
Well, was it just on TV and
No.
you just decided to, how did you come upon Requiem for a Dream?
I think it was put on by like one of my sister and my cousin, and we just watched it, and I think my mom was there, which I'm pretty sure she was there.
Well, and like
she meant well. You know what I mean? Yeah, she meant well.
Like thinking about it, there weren't many things that my like parents tried to shelter me from, but like movies was one. Like I know Speed, like the
Keanu Reeves movie.
I know it as the movie I was not supposed to touch.
Oh,
Speed!
Of my parents. Speed was the limit for the like. Speed was the limit.
Speed was the limit.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, it wasn't. Why
like Speed?
It was what was in the house.
Oh,
like
okay.
that was like, I don't touch that movie.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to.
Interesting.
From just being really, and I watched it like a few years ago. I'm like, this is cool, but it's nothing like, it's no forbidden fruit quality kind of shit.
It's not. That's the funny. That's the absurd.
It's a fun
thing
story
about it.
though. I like it. If you would have told me about that as a kid, I'm like, I want to watch that movie.
It's actually hilarious. Like it's like this like forbidden fruit in the house, and like you're like, oh, I can't watch it. And then the little kid brain is like, oh, it must be so crazy good.
Right.
And then you get so disappointed when you realize this is what they were hiding from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's hilarious, man.
I read a book a while back with this guy named Peter Rollins who talks about like throughout history, there's been this kind of phenomenon of the more that things are forbidden, the more that they are desired.
Yeah. Oh, I can definitely understand. I get behind that. Yeah.
And that's so fucking Speed is not worth that conversation.
Right? Peter Rollins was not talking about the movie Speed by
That's
Keanu
true.
Reeves. The
Not
man is
at all.
Keanu Reeves is a legend, but that movie is not forbiddenable.
It's
you know what I
fine.
mean? Yeah,
It's a fun time one
it's
time.
all right. Yeah, exactly, man.
Okay, so you were locked in from at the bottom of everything.
Yeah, I was locked in from the bottom of everything, and then I was locked in from the Conroe Burst album, and then from there, it was really on me to kind of explore his Bright Eyes music as I got older, right? So, like I said, I got lifted from Borders when it was still open.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Shout out
I've never been
Borders.
to a Borders, but I've heard about it from PJ
Oh, it's
and
legendary.
Jake. Like,
yeah. I love Borders. I don't know why. It's basically what Barnes and Nobles is, but I liked it more, you know? But anyway, so I listened to that, and then a couple years later, maybe like 2 or 3 years later, my sister sent me Casadega, and then I got super into that. Actually, no, I went to visit her. She lived in Arizona at the time, and she was playing Casadega. And at that time, she also introduced me to like Sublime and all these other bands that I was listening to the first time. That I'm also still like lifelong fans of these bands, you know. But Casadega was amazing. You know, I loved it. And then I listened to, and then I when LimeWire was out, I listened to the rest of his music, which I feel bad as a fan because I downloaded it illegally. But it's okay. He understands. He's he believes music is for the people, right?
It matters not at
I don't
this
know what
point.
he believes, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a crimes in the past. Connor, if you're listening, I'm sorry, dude. I'm fucking sorry, man. I failed you. I'll mail you a check for $1. It's probably the equivalent. Yeah, he needs it, man. But yeah, so then I got what is it? The People's Key, which was I wasn't as into it, but now revisiting that album, I see the brilliance in it, and I understand that it was kind of like the end of that era of Bright Eyes, that from like, you know, they had a run of like I think it was like 4 or 5 albums where it was just on fire, and then he took some time off for that project, and he did other things, and then the next one was that I got super into was Ruminations. No, sorry, fucking Upside Down Mountain, which is his solo stuff, and that album is probably actually like one of my favorites. I think I say that about fucking every album, but I love that album. Yeah, but yeah, and I think that's kind of where it went off. I was so fucking excited when I heard in 2020 that they were dropping Down in the Weeds. That and I love it to death. My favorite song is Calais to Dover. So I really love that. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But yeah, so out of all of them, dude, I really want to know, what was your favorite? Like, what was your favorite album that you listened to? I know it's difficult because when you listen to it once, you don't really get the full, you know what I mean? The full experience, but.
And I tried to put myself in environments where I feel like I can focus on music the most while I do whatever. So like
So you went to the Kroger deli department on like a Sunday afternoon?
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. I went to the races and just, but also I got some noise canceling headphones for
sick.
Christmas.
Nice, man.
So I've been, I listened to the last one.
The Five Dice. Yeah. How'd you like that?
I loved that record.
You did?
Yeah. It's real. Like, I liked it more than I thought I would. But
That's awesome.
I think my favorite front to back is probably gonna be Wide Awake It's Morning.
Okay. Right. It's a lot of people's favorites. Actually, a lot of the people who aren't diehard discography fans of Bright Eyes, like that's how they know it. It has that album specifically, it has pop cultural power and influence in comparison to his other ones. Like, you know what I mean? That's like a staple in kind of pop culture history, that album, because it was in a couple movies, some of those songs and stuff. Okay. So it's cool that you like that. Yeah. Is it gonna make you go to New York?
I didn't know it was so tied to New York, but I would be more likely to go.
Dude, book a ticket now while we're on the podcast. Do it right now.
You're right.
Yeah. Do first class, United, all the way. You got to do.
I've been to New York once, and it was during Christmas time, which is a really cool time to be in New York.
How old were you?
I was a junior in college.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so you're kind of like, I'm near adult, right? Like that's cool.
I was with my family, and we did some things like
He took a shit in TGI Fridays, right? That's like a rite of passage for anyone visiting New York.
I'll never forget my experience with one of those bathrooms in New York. It was in a McDonald's, and I had to go downstairs.
Oh shit!
Like down into like
yeah, dude, I know that McDonald's. I think
no way.
Yeah,
that specific McDonald's.
Yeah, because there's only a couple that have that. Yeah, I feel like I've been to that. Yeah, that's really funny. Where do you know what the area you were in?
I have no idea.
Okay,
no, I don't know what area we're in now.
McDonald's bathrooms suck in New York. Obviously, they suck because there's so many places. But McDonald's specifically because they forced you to buy something, and so sometimes you would have to piss so badly, but you'd have to wait on a huge line to buy like $1 something just to use the bathroom.
Sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude, yeah. I am not that much of a rule follower. I would.
You can't, dude. They had a. Oh shit. Sorry, my bad.
That's all right.
Technical difficulties. They had a security guard outside of the McDonald's bathroom in some parts of New York, so people don't just use. Yeah, I mean that's not a joke. The security guard was posted up specifically at the bathroom door, so no one just abuses the bathroom. Yeah, it sucks.
I guess it's such a like populated place as New York City is. I get it, but goddamn, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
but it was one of those moments where I was like, my family was doing something else, and I was like, I have to go piss somewhere soon, and I just ran across the street. I'm like, a McDonald's I'll be able to do that.
That seems like a reasonable place where I've used the bathroom so many times before.
Right.
Yeah.
But dude, I felt like I was going down into a subway.
Yeah, welcome to the labyrinth, bitch. You know?
It was weird. And the floor was super wet when I got down there. I'm like, what the fuck?
Fuck yeah, man.
Which, I mean, it's not super different from most McDonald's bathrooms. But, so.
That's a good point. I feel like part of owning a McDonald's is making sure the bathroom floor is as wet as possible at any fucking
That's true.
time.
You're not. Yeah. That's your rite of passage.
Yeah, the rite of passage as a McDonald's franchise owner.
So, like, this. As I listened through these albums, gradually, like, I saw how marveled at, like, how his songwriting evolved and, like, his phrasing evolved and his vocabulary evolved, and I had no idea how much of a like powerhouse lyricist Conor Oberst was. But now, like the other day, I texted you. I forgot that you had said that about Rolling Stone, saying he was a modern Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
and I thought I was like, I'm so observant for everything. But as incredible like a lyricist as he is, I want to know, like for my favorite bands that we were talking about earlier that I like grew up with, I as a writer myself, I guess, but also just as a super fan of their music, I wrote lots of their lyrics like on things. There are like lyrics from theirs that are imprinted into my like DNA at this point. So I want to know like what lines from if you want, we can go. I'm not trying to go like song by song
Dude, we can. I don't give a shit.
Forever.
Let's do it, bud.
I would love to. But I have to get up.
Yeah,
to work
that's a great question. The most impactful lyrics.
Like from Wide Awake It's Morning. We'll start.
Yeah. Well, obviously the first song. We must stare into a crystal ball and only see the past.
And only see the past. Dude, that's
and in the caverns of tomorrow. With our flashlights and our love, we must plunge. We must plunge.
What do you have to go through in your life till like that pours out of you?
Yeah, I think it's it is interesting, and I think the same could be said for someone like Bob Dylan as well, where in his early years, the shit that was flying out of this guy's mouth in such a fucking eloquent, poetic, and like crazy, forceful way. No one could have fucking just thought of that. You know what I mean? It's like, but he did. He thought of that shit. And so I think that's the magic of some brilliant artists is that they just, like I said, they tap into something. You know what I mean? Yeah. They tap into something inside that's just, it comes out. And there's a reason why people like Bob Dylan, like Conor Oberst, like Kendrick, like all the people who have these followings, they have star power, and it's a real thing. They have this light that shines, and it's just difficult for a lot of people to just not be attracted to it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I heard a quote from one of my favorite singer-songwriters who said like the poet, what is it? The poet's lips are crafted over time to the point that when they like speak from pain, it sounds different than when other people do.
Wow.
So it's like, as you.
That's a dope quote, man.
Yeah, I probably butchered it. It's just, I think it was.
I'm gonna quote it, but I'm gonna like
You should.
put by Adam Anderson. You know, like the little dash, Adam Anderson dash,
Yes,
original
all of the
author.
brackets all the way
Yeah,
down.
exactly.
Because he was quoting like, God, a famous author that has like a French name. I can never remember the name.
Sartre.
So
Yeah, Jean-Paul Sartre.
Jean-Paul.
Yeah.
Is that how you're saying his name?
Yeah, Sartre.
It may have been him. It may have been someone else. I'll have to find it
He
later.
might have been. Yeah, I don't know that specific quote. My sister would, because she's into philosophy.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
okay.
she's a
recently.
professor of philosophy, but she's into.
She gets the best person badge.
She's into philosophy. Like that is that's an understatement, and she's gonna listen to this, so I can't wait till she gets to this point.
Oh hell yeah!
Cool. But yeah, so that's a dope quote. You said, what was it again?
The poet's lips are crafted so that when they speak from pain,
It sounds different.
It comes out different.
That shit hits different.
And I think it's I've seen my own take the best person badge back real quick. I've seen my own
You're just passing
writing.
that shit around.
Yeah, like it's essentially like not a use it or lose it kind of thing, but like as you do it more often, you increasingly get more like precise with writing or with whatever you do,
And
but
the
especially with
expression.
writing.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's a lot of what has happened throughout Conor Oberst's career is he wrote so much, it seems like, at least.
It does. I wonder he probably has like lots of songs that just he never made. He seems like that type of individual, you know?
Well, like one of me and Peach and Jake's favorite artists, Rustin Kelly,
I listened to his stuff. Rustin Kelly,
yeah.
he's interesting. Yeah, I like his sound.
Yeah, he's an incredible artist, but he has like at least one journal for every album that he's written, and it's just like vomiting ideas, thoughts, feelings, whatever is in there onto the page, and then as you and I would do this growing up all the time. I would write like honestly at the time they were like I would write prayers down and then songs would come out of those, and not necessarily like church songs or whatever, but just like personal shit. Like I would, as I wrote into whatever I was feeling, I would be able to
Like build out from that.
almost like focus inward, like funnel down to like this is what I'm really trying to say. This is what I'm really wanting to say.
That's pretty cool.
But so yeah, are there like
I used to write poetry when I was a teenager.
Oh, damn.
I was deep into poetry. It was a huge coping
that
mechanism.
makes sense.
for
You would be
me.
into Conor Oberst.
Yeah,
being
no,
super
and
deep
that
into
was
poetry.
definitely and probably at that time it was a little bit more influenced by the artists I was listening to than I'd like to admit. But it was still it was never really for other people.
Yeah.
When I first started, it was literally just a way to cope with just some tough things that I would go through when I was a teenager. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying about like you write something down and then you really sink deep into that one thing, and through that you can kind of build something more upon it, right? Like I like that, yeah.
And either I struggle to do that since I rarely just sit down and write now if I'm not writing a song.
Yeah.
Like I don't journal so much anymore. I used to journal all the time and songs would come out of journaling, but now
Really?
it's like my form of journaling is songwriting.
Okay.
So
you skip the
for-
middle, man.
I guess, but then sometimes I'm like, do I need to just let shit bleed out of me with no purpose for it to just be onto a page? Sometimes to like maybe get to more deep thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, man.
So like, I wonder what other like songs on. What are some if I were to ask you what Bright Eyes lyrics would you get tattooed?
Yo, that's funny, man. I actually met this one dude one time who I found out he was a big Bright Eyes fan because he had Easy Lucky Free written.
Oh,
like,
rules.
yeah.
I love
And
that
actually,
song,
I
dude.
didn't even
It's
I
so
didn't even
good.
bring up Digital Ashton, Digital Earn, and I don't know why I always sleep on it, but it's one of my favorites. that song specifically is dope, but I Believe in Symmetry is my fucking shit. That song is just my shit. And
If someone really into or any kind of into philosophy, I
yeah,
totally get it.
Arc of Time, Goldmine Gutted. Honestly, like Digital Ash is probably up there with Lifted for me. It's really sick.
It might be my second favorite.
Yeah, it's exceptional album. And he dual released it with I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning Out, which is really impressive.
Wait, those were at the same time?
Yeah, the exact
Holy
same day.
shit, dude.
Yeah, they were released simultaneous. It was a simultaneous release, and what's cool is that he captured two. And I keep saying him. It's three people in the band, but he is the front man. I think, from what I understand and read about it, the context, it is kind of his major project. Even though Mike Mogus and Nate Walcott are two very exceptional musicians and like industry veterans when it comes to that realm.
My favorite artists are like that. They're like pretty much one person.
But but it's cool though that to have such like a band where the front man is like the main thing, but to also have such high quality people to contribute is really beautiful. It means no matter, it's kind of like in a TV show when they have like some random character side actor be like Christopher Walken or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's no matter what, the little details are still exceptional because everywhere in the periphery of the band are just talented musicians. Oh shit. But yeah. Fucking yeah, man. I'm super passionate about this, as you can see.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to have a platform. No one wants to talk about Bright Eyes with me. And now I get to talk about all the Bright Eyes with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we could make this an 8-parter.
Dude,
I don't
fucking
give a shit, dude.
shit, yeah, man.
so down.
Every album will
We
dissect.
can make just this episode just about I'm Wide Awake as well.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So like, okay. You didn't answer my question.
I didn't.
What would if I like, I don't know, if you had to get a tattoo of
Oh yes,
Bright
if I
Eyes.
had to get a tattoo of any Bright Eyes, well, I don't have any tattoos. I'll start with that.
Right, I don't either.
Yeah,
I
okay.
wouldn't.
The reason
But
is
if I was going to,
I fear the permanence. You know what I mean? I think that I feel regretting what I'm getting a tattoo of. That's the
understand.
philosophy behind it.
that was my hesitation to one. I'm a little bitch, and I can't. My pain threshold is so stupid low.
It's the pain, yeah.
Oh yeah, but also like growing up, but like being in college when all my friends were getting tattoos, I'd be like, I just don't know what I want on me forever, and they'd be like, don't think about it like that. I'm like, how do you not think about it like that? And I remember for a while I was like, it was like a side project. I'm like, I gotta figure out like what would I want on me, and I had ideas. And I made it like this huge thing. And I'm like, it's not really this huge thing. But to me, it was like, if I'm gonna have something on my body, it's gonna. If I'm
But
gonna
you know what's
endure
funny,
some,
dude?
like,
Some
pain.
people get the shittiest fucking tattoos.
Oh, of course.
And it's on them forever and no regrets. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and then like look at us overthinking, trying to find the best tattoo, and we still are not satisfied with that. I think that's pretty funny.
I think it's really interesting how different ideas hit different people. I know a dude who has like full sleeves like on his arms and almost on his legs, and he has one that he's like so ashamed of now that he keeps a scarf over it at all times.
Is it a tribal tattoo?
I have no idea what it is. He wouldn't like tell me.
Is it a butterfly?
I
feel
don't
like
know.
there's like if you the top 10 most regretted generic tattoos of all time, butterfly's pretty high on the list, along with the tribal tattoo.
You should be ashamed of the trauma.
Yeah,
tattoo.
and maybe the infinity snake.
Oh god. Yeah.
I'm just. My sister has that, so I just wanted to.
Really?
Yeah, so when she listens, I want her to hear that.
That rules. Was it one of her first ones?
I was
or
kidding.
was
It's
she,
actually
like-
a dope tattoo. I'm unsure what her first one was, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, the infinity snake.
Because
It's forever.
I need you to answer my question.
What? Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. That's,
I understand if someone asked me this about like the classic crime, I'd say if I had to pick right now, it'd be this, but I don't know if it's my absolute favorite. So just like
yeah.
I
Just
wanna, like
just
off
fucking
the top of the dome. Like
just
what would you
top
say?
of the dome gut feeling. It's gonna be a long gut feeling, but let me think for a few moments. Let's see. I'm thinking about the catalog. I'll outwardly think, so it's not just silence on the podcast. Think about the catalog.
What if I restricted you to I'm wide awake it's morning?
Oh, dude, why'd
had
you
to
do
pick.
that, man? Oh, no, I'm kidding around. Okay, lyrics from I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning Out. Obviously, you got to pick. Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Dude, it's tough. I'm leaving, but I don't know where to. That's from Landlocked Blues.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. You're a bitch.
Yeah. And it sucks because you can't ask me this because I'm not really.
I know.
Even first day of my life, I don't want to.
It would be. Can I choose another album?
Sure.
Yeah, Easy Lucky Free. No, it's fine.
Okay, just those words.
Just choose the other guy.
I mean, that rules.
I'd get every single lyric tattooed on my body.
Damn.
I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna ever get any of them. So in this hypothetical situation, I love all the music equally. I'm gonna do that. Every single. If I think of something better, I'll let you know on the conversation. It's a difficult thing to ask. Someone's like, "Hey, dude, what's your favorite TV show?" And I'm like, "Let me think for 3 hours." And then not only did I give them an answer, I gave them 10 answers, and I gave them disclosures and context for every answer, and explained the categorization, the subgenres, and stuff. So I'm not very good at picking one thing for one thing, if that makes sense.
As someone who's been told from a very young age that I'd overthink, over-explain, I welcome all of that.
Same girl.
Like
fucking A, yeah.
So
what would you get? Not having too much exposure into Bright Eyes music, what lyric would you get tattooed on your bate?
You know what?
You're like, I get the words Bright Eyes.
Okay, I'm gonna cheat actually.
Okay. ChatGPT, what should I get tattooed?
Yeah, brilliant Bright Eyes lyrics. No, what kind of honestly like opened me to experience, like show me a deeper level of experiencing the music, which is, I've been this way with music forever. I didn't do it at first with Bright Eyes, but when I started reading the lyrics along with, oh my God.
My ashtray's overflowing. I'm just staring at a clean white page. I fucking love that lyric.
All this automatic writing I've tried to understand from a psychedelic angel who is tugging on my hand.
Oh yeah, baby!
It's an infinite coincidence, but it doesn't form a plan. Fuck off, dude.
Casadega, dude. Let's fucking go. Yeah,
yes.
man.
Do you know the song it's from?
Yeah, I think I do. From a psychedelic angel. Why can't I fucking? Is it from Soul Singer in a session band?
No, that's a really good guess because I have been raving about that song.
What is
I was
it?
trying to think of lyrics.
It's not
from
Four
that,
Winds, right?
No, it's Brakeman.
Brakeman.
Mm-hmm.
When panic grips your body and
I'm gonna reference it with just one word, like I'm a cool fan.
Yeah.
As if the Brakeman.
That was, dude. You did do that right now. I look like
dude.
a fool right now,
Thank
dude.
you.
I'll run the podcast and then you just be the Bright Eyes fan now.
I brought you on here to ask you hard questions and just make there be lots of dead air.
Right?
That's the whole point.
I will not let dead air happen. I don't care if it's your project or mine. It will not fucking happen. That's not gonna happen.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I recently did an episode where I just talked by myself, and the editing out the dead air is the bane of my existence. I'm like, what? Fuck any like TikTok people that don't have to just edit out tons of silence.
Yeah.
Tons of like uhs and ums.
There's actually some dope. I'm not like AI kind of gets on my nerves because it's everywhere right now. But there's some dope software that will edit out dead air from podcast recordings. So it's pretty cool.
And I've figured out like how to do that in Logic, but it's still like a chore. And then there's like some parts of, but yeah.
No, I got you. Yeah. Switching to technology now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I know even less about. Truly.
Yeah. Okay. So there is fuck. I just broke the dead air rule, dude.
Oh, that's all right, man.
Yeah, it's okay. Go on. What were you saying?
I have a dead air rule, and there has to be some.
Yeah.
There has to be some at some point. The conversations are too long for there not to be.
Dude, did you listen to Better Oblivion Community Center?
Okay, so I do. Ooh, I can actually jump into my little bitty notesies. So,
because that album is one of my favorites of all time. Like out of all music, that exposed me to Phoebe Bridgers' music as well. And I'm probably almost a biggest fan of her because that's how great she is. She's just an insane musician. Yeah.
There was one song on God damn it, Persona Non Grata from Down in the Weeds.
Yeah, Down in the Weeds, yeah.
I remember
Persona
listening to it
Non
last night. I was
Grata.
like, this sounds like a Phoebe Bridgers song.
Yeah.
This sounds like something
I
that
think
she would write.
that was after their collaboration. I think she was on. Remember those companion albums that you were asking me about that he re-recorded?
I don't know. Spotify wouldn't bring it up for me. That's why I was asking.
Okay,
Like, what
that's
does it
interesting.
show
The
up?
Spotify, yeah. So she's on one of them. Highly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe you.
Yeah. I'm just making that shit up.
You can.
Dude,
You
fucking
can say Nazi
Ted
anthem, and I believe
Ted Cruz was on one of his songs. It was crazy.
Hell yeah,
That's
dude.
why he was on that plane.
the ultimate.
Yeah, that's why he was going to record
Full circle.
in L.A. Yeah.
But so Jake showed me, I didn't know what I was in for from Better Oblivion Community Center.
Oh yeah,
a couple years ago.
That's the opening song, and then
What's the opening song?
Yeah, and then Sleepwalking. I didn't know what I was in for. Okay, so do you kind of remember the lyrics and the premise of the song at all?
Kind of. I
Okay.
remember he showed it to me in the context of like it was really like a special song between him and his ex-wife.
Really?
Yeah, at the time they were still married.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so that song specifically, I think I had a debate with my sister about what it actually meant. So in it, they're both talking about kind of like she mentions at one point she's like in a straitjacket and she's like watching the TV from a distance and stuff, and like she felt crazy, and my sister kind of thought it was literal, but I thought it was more like kind of representational of how we can feel in a world where there's so many variables out of our control. And we want things to be different. We look at all this tragedy on TV and all this chaos and stuff around us when we're on the news or any stuff, and our hands are literally tied like a straitjacket. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that song specifically, I really like that song. And then Dylan Thomas is like probably the most catchy song on there besides like My City. Dude, I actually saw them in concert perform that, which I was really happy about in San Francisco.
Whoa.
Yeah, they actually did a special. I was in California at the time. I was living there. I lived there for like 3 months in Northern California, and they had a tour. It was the end of the tour, and they added a date for San Francisco, and I just hopped on that shit. Me and my sister saw it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she didn't just drive me. We saw it together.
That'd be a long drive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know I listened through that album after Jake showed me that song, but it was like right after he showed me that song. And then
You
I
should
kind of just
revisit
moved on.
that. You should
I
listen to
definitely
everything I
should.
say, and you should just do that.
I should.
Yeah.
I should throw away any other moral compass.
Or responsibility.
Right.
Or
and
yeah.
just follow your words.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, I remember I really liked the vibe of that. I think the way that I found out about Phoebe Bridgers was like the way that I first listened to Phoebe Bridgers, rather. I did this thing for a while where I would ask people again, a thing that like I technically did this growing up in a church context, and I wanted to do it not in a church context, so I made it kind of happen. I would like every week I would send out something on socials and say like, give me some songs that you want me to learn and perform on a Facebook Live thing.
I see you send that in the group chat sometimes, right? Like you'll show your comments of asking that kind of stuff on the Facebook threads.
I haven't done it in a while. Well, like
Okay.
I'm a fucking dinosaur like with Facebook. Like I'm so involved on Facebook.
You're like,
it's-
hey, how do you like something? Can I
Right.
still poke people?
Oh God, that's awful. But I really enjoy like Facebook communities, which is basically Reddit shit. But I just found Facebook first, so I just kind of use.
Yeah, it's
that
like
more.
Reddit without the anonymity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to do these weekly live streams where I would like play, like I would make myself learn songs that people said they wanted me to see me play and perform and sing and whatever. And someone requested Georgia by Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that was like the first Phoebe Bridgers song I'd fully listened to.
Did you like
and
it?
Then at the time it was like, it grew on me as I learned it. That happens a lot. And then I like listened through Punisher and I was like, fuck, this is awesome.
Punisher was so dope. It came out during the pandemic. And at the time I was on Instagram, and I don't think Phoebe Bridgers, last I saw it, she like deactivated it, I think. but she was advertising it, right? But it was during the pandemic, and like everything was shut down, and Manhattan was shut down, and Times Square there was like maybe 1 to 2 people at any time, and it was funny. I remember because she did a promo in her Instagram reel or live or whatever. No, I think it was a reel of like her that album being advertised in Times Square, and then she looks around and no one's there to see it.
Damn.
And I thought that was just that I remember
awesome,
that still.
honestly.
Yeah, it's really
Especially
funny.
considering like the notoriety she has now.
Exactly. Yeah, she's like a force now, especially that Taylor Swift tour, the Eras tour that she opened up for, I think kind of really exposed her to a lot of different audiences. And then the Boy Genius tour that they started that last album that they came out with, the Boy Genius one. They started doing just regular like venues, like they were playing like White Oak, which is like a medium size, right? And then
you went to that one, right?
Yeah, I went to that one. I liked seeing them play, but I didn't like the crowd. It was disappointing because I'll never.
Their fan base had just like really expanded.
Yeah, dude. Most likely, I think I said this a couple times to a few people, but like I'll probably never be able to like stand 10 feet away from where she's performing, like I did when she toured with Connor and that smaller tour, you know, when she wasn't as famous, which is fine. It's like you want the artist that you like and you admire to kind of go, but then there's this part of selfishness of you that's like, I just remember when, you know, it was different when they were coming up, you know. Yeah, but yeah, Punisher was amazing. I love Punisher. That's probably my favorite. I still listen to that probably on like a weekly basis still. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't know what tattoo I'd get, Adam. So that's your next question.
The journey was worth it.
Yeah.
The journey is what we're here for.
Exactly.
You
ever listen to Elliott Smith?
I have not. One of my favorite. So like John Foreman of Switchfoot, Elliott Smith was a huge influence on him, and a lot of artists over the years I like got into because another artist I loved that artist.
Yeah. Elliott Smith was one of those. He was one. So I have a theory about music, and I haven't validated or anything. I didn't really do too much research behind it, but every once in a while during the music evolution chain of genres and subgenres, right? Because we're at a point where genres are being created at bigger genres that once were. Like there's no such thing as rock anymore. There's like so many different types of rock and hip hop as well at this point. But there comes a time where there is a very like original artist that is still reminiscent of older influences, but is unique enough to kind of be it's a new chink in the chain of music, right? One of those artists, I think personally, is like The Cure. I think is that kind of artist where they start like this kind of new, a little bit of a subgenre. And I think Elliott Smith is one of those in the context of the soft, like indie folky type of music. That's my theory on Elliott Smith. He's very influential.
He only released like 3 albums, right?
Yeah, and then he killed himself.
Okay, he killed.
Yeah.
I knew that he had died. I didn't know if
it was rough. His death was. It was like he like stabbed himself in the heart with like a butcher knife.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to his music.
Yeah,
right away.
no, dude, he was.
That's what we'll listen to go to sleep tonight.
I do, dude. Okay, so whenever I'm sad, I have a mood thing with music, right? I think everyone does, but I have like a chain of musical thresholds, of artist thresholds for when I'm super sad. So when I start off being sad, like, you know, kind of melancholy, I'll listen to like Band of Horses, or I'll listen to like Pine Grove, or I'll listen to, you know, Bright Eyes, or I'll listen to The Shins, or something that has some glimmer of hope in it. You know what I mean? It's not completely. But then I go up a level, right? The last level of the sadness for me is Elliott Smith. If I'm listening to Elliott Smith consistently, I am not in a good place. Damn. It is pretty tough. Yeah. I don't know if you have something similar like that.
Honestly, my go-to everything is going to shit is Damn.
Damn?
Damn. Kendrick's Damn.
Kendrick's Damn? Is that your going to shit music? Oh, because you like to rally, right? Do you listen to it because it helps you rally out of that?
No, like I sink into like element and feel and lust and fear in those songs that are like going
Dude,
deep inside himself.
Fucking yeah,
The-
man. Fear. I'm
after
talking fear. Dude, that shit is
Yeah.
that song is ahead of its time with the complexity and dude, that song is fucking brilliant. I love that song.
This is
I'm talking fear.
one of maybe the cringier things that I'll say during this conversation, but
Do not say the N-word.
I the N-word. The day after Trump got reelected was the first time I listened through Damn backwards for the first time.
Oh yeah, started with Duckworth.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
before that, I'd always like started that journey and been like, this feels too dark, bro. Like, I love dark shit, but this feels like hopeless.
Yeah.
And I love hopeless shit, but this feels like
yeah.
I can't go here.
This is too much.
But at that day, I was like, this is what I need. Like, I need to descend into
Dude,
chaos.
I'm so here for it. Yeah. The last election, I was with my family in California, and we made it a intention the election day to not listen to any news and keep our phones away. And so we had a non-election viewing party where we
Wow,
just
that's cool.
yeah, and it was nice. We were also in Oh no, never mind. We were just together. Yeah, we were in my sister's house. I thought we went to like some town off the coast of California for my mom's birthday, but I think we were already back by then. So yeah. But anyway,
That's fucking awesome.
I hear you.
honestly.
That's funny though. Damn is like your go-to album for like the bad times.
Yeah, because so the singer songwriter that I grew up being a fan of that I've had on the podcast, he through social media like is the reason I checked out Kendrick Lamar like first at all, and I was like, if this guy's into it, I'm probably gonna be into it. And he posted that Kendrick had just released Damn, and at the time, as like someone that grew up super Christian, that my faith was leaving me and I was leaving it. Damn was like
damn.
it was huge for me. And then to find out years later that like after really like looking into the lyrics and where it came from, there's so much fucking Bible study inside that record. There's so many like Bible like themes and lots of stuff.
I would say I could relate to understanding that, but I didn't read the Bible, so I didn't know that. That's really cool though. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of my favorite podcasts is the Dissect podcast. And
Okay.
he goes like,
I remember you talking about that.
oh yeah, I think
You
I said
recommended it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure I didn't listen. Because that's how bad I am at listening to podcasts. It's not a personal
understand.
thing. Yeah.
I
Someone's
totally
like, Last
understand.
House on the Left and all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, dude, totally send me the link, bro. And I feel like that was like 4 years ago.
It is a commitment. And honestly, as someone who grew up listening to sermons for fun, I feel like this shift over to the podcast was just a little like
an easier
perfect.
transition, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I needed it. I needed some like to listen to somebody talk and it not be about
That's great,
shit.
dude. Because I'm like, I talk enough. I don't need to hear anyone else fucking talk.
I understand.
But yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
That was a really important record for me. And when the Dissect season over Damn came out and I had listened through it, because he goes line by line through entire albums. He's done it with Tyler the Creator's albums. He's done it with several Kendrick albums.
I remember the specific. Dude, you know what's funny? I actually did listen to that podcast where he
yeah,
broke down the line by line. I remember it specifically, I believe. Now I don't know. I'm pretty sure I did.
That rules. If that's the
Yeah.
first like podcast you've listened to in like a year. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's not too many. When I did my podcast, I produced it before Jacob. Well, I edited it before Jacob did. We all produced it, but I hated editing because I didn't want to listen to a podcast.
I understand.
But we couldn't put it out because we fucked up so many times, you know? Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
There are things to this day that like Jake and PJ, when I'm like around them, I'll be like, I'll make an inside joke to something they said on the podcast and they haven't listened to it, so they don't remember. But I listened to it 1,000,000 times while editing. Especially because like when you listen to a full episode, you'll understand why it took forever for me to do it.
There's nothing more lonely to me than quoting an inside joke with people who are inside and they don't remember it.
You have to explain to
Yeah.
the people who like.
No, dude,
said
we're
it.
supposed to reminisce on this.
Oh
You gotta
my God.
understand, man.
Yes. I'll do that with Jake a lot. And I'll be like, oh, it's like this thing. He's like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? Like, it was on the Kanye part 2. He's like, I have never listened to that. I'm like, good for you.
That's funny, man.
Fuck, what are we talking about? Bright Eyes?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, no, it's okay. Honestly, like, because I think the thing with Bright Eyes was also a plunge for me into like that scene of music, and it also influenced a lot of the other things I would listen to going forward. You know, like Neutral Milk Hotel, the Decemberists, even Death Cab for Cutie and the Shins and stuff. Like I got more into them because they were in the similar musical space that Bright Eyes occupied. You know,
What did you...
M. Ward as well. He's exceptional. M. Ward is an exceptional singer songwriter. I love his shit, man. Anyway, what did you? What? My bad.
What did... Was this the first thing your sister sent you, music-wise?
It was one of the first things that I
Okay.
remember her sending. She used to send me a lot. She used to send me basically like mixtapes. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was cool because I didn't really have any other major influences but my mom. And my mom had really good music taste. Like I'm a big fan of like Jackson Brown and Bob Dylan
Hell yeah.
and Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell because my mom listened to them, and
That rules.
Bruce Springsteen, but like, my mom wasn't listening to Elliott Smith, you know what I mean? Or if she was, she wasn't talking about it, so that would be cool if she fucking listened. If my mom was an Elliott Smith, actually, that'd be dope.
If you're a Springsteen fan, I've got to show you something before you leave.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, hell yeah.
See, I wondered like what you were already listening to at the time that your sister sent you this
I was
album.
heavy into hip hop at that time.
Okay.
So I was
As a teenager.
Yeah, I got into hip hop because one of my friends. It was like 5th grade, dude. I remember the day. I remember the moment. I was on the bus. I got on the bus. My friend Mike. I won't say his last name, just because like I don't want to say his last name.
Gotcha.
But he had a CD player with 50 Cent's "Get Rich or Die Trying."
Yeah.
Not making this up. And so I listened. He gave me the headphones. I put them on, and I was listening to the song with Eminem on it. I think it may have been "Don't Push Me." I think Lloyd Banks is on that as well. And then I listened to the other song with Eminem, "Patiently Waiting." I don't know are you familiar with the album?
Not at all.
Okay.
Like, my familiarity with hip hop started at Damn, and I've just had to
Really?
work backwards.
Oh
Yeah,
shit,
dude.
man! Nah, hip hop was it is and has been a huge influence on my music taste. In a totally radically different direction than the Bright Eyes tree.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy. Damn, was your first introduction to hip hop?
Not so like I grew up listening to lots of like Christian rappers. That was like
I don't even know that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's debatable if it should be.
That's
or not.
crazy, dude.
But my first like actual hip hop album was Kendrick's Damn, and then from there I was like, oh, he has more shit, and I listened to some of Butterfly. And
Yeah, because you'd be sending me albums that like I haven't listened to. Like you're like I never really got into Tyler in his later years. Not because I didn't want to. I just never like put it on. But you're like a huge fan of Tyler the Creator, right? Like you're big into Tyler.
I am increasingly a fan of Tyler, and I'm more into his newer shit than his older shit.
Yeah,
honestly.
I hear that a lot. He changed apparently, right? Like it was big. I'm a big fan of Odd Future when they came out. I was huge into Odd Future.
See, like I've heard no Earl Sweatshirt shit. I've heard no Frank Ocean shit.
Earl's dope. Frank Ocean is dope, man. Probably people would debate this, but I think like if you want a proper exposure, just listen to Channel Orange. Which is that was like his rise to stardom when that album dropped.
Oh, okay.
And then like the subsequent albums were like with that song like Nike and
I don't even know. I know
you don't even know. You don't even know it. Yeah.
I know he has an album called Blonde.
Yeah.
And that's
Blonde. Yeah, Blonde. That was I remember Blonde. Maybe that's the album. I don't know. I stopped listening to Channel Orange. Gotcha. Again, not because I didn't I just stopped listening to Frank Ocean.
I could show you the like rappers that I listened to growing up, and you probably would just say like, "Oh, this is like we have this rapper at home." Like it's a lot of that kind of shit. But it was like
we have this rapper. That's funny. Oh, we have that at home.
Oh my god, a lot of that. But it was like I said earlier. I'm like, I want to listen to people that are talking about the most important truth in the universe, and that's how I just felt about shit.
Yeah, I get it, man. I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like logically, it makes sense that I was that way, but still, I was like, ugh. But
that is pretty cool though to know. It's kind of like for me, it's like someone smoking their first joint like when they're 28. You know what I mean? It's like
that's the first time.
Yeah,
the first time I smoked anything was I was 25. I think
you're literally like that person, dude. That's hilarious, man. Yeah.
Pretty much all the way down.
I was also 25. As far as anyone knows, I was 25 the first time I smoked the first joint, and it was an illegal state, and everything was okay.
Excellent. Yeah. Thought we're in between the lines.
Yeah, dude. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
No, the first time I smoked, I'll say pretty much the only time I haven't smoked anything but weed, but it was with Peach. It was like out of vengeance towards an ex, and
really,
and I didn't know how to smoke anything, so it was like it was.
Did you have a panic attack?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's
Dude,
cool.
I wish, like, if that thing with the hospital in Austin hadn't happened.
That's the first story I heard about you, Adam.
That's amazing.
That's the first story that I heard about whenever Austin and Adam came into the same sentence with the right people. That story is what I knew of you first, which is hilarious.
It is part of my like essential lore at this point, but also like I smoked for my first time with Peach. It was like, this is fun. I laughed a lot, danced in his kitchen, and ate a lot of his Starbucks frozen sandwiches, and fell asleep shortly after.
That is like
fine.
Everyone's high trip. I'm glad you experienced the normal of it. You know what I mean?
It was a good time. And then I had another good time at Jake's birthday party. And then a few times after that, I just didn't know I had a limit, and then I overshot it real hard. And I'm not sure if I've probably talked about this story on the podcast at one point, but if I hadn't had a seizure shortly before that happened, I wouldn't have gone to the hospital. That's what I was so scared about.
You had a seizure before that?
Not from being high, but
like for other reasons, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine that, like, because when you're high, you fixate on thoughts and fears a lot.
Well, like it felt like my heart was beating 1,000 miles an hour, and I was like, the closest thing I felt to this was right before I had my seizure incident.
You took a edible, right?
Yeah, it was like, hell yeah. Yeah.
Wait. For the listener, maybe they've heard the story. Have they?
I don't know if I
provide the context, bud. I think we need context for this story.
All right, whole story.
Yeah,
sure. 'Cause what did you hear?
Okay, you were in Austin at like I think it was like at like an event or a music thing or something like that, or you're on your way to a music thing or something like that, and it was something y'all were all looking forward to, and on the way there, you took an edible and it finally hit, and you just fucking collapsed like in an emotional and logical way, and you thought something was really, really wrong, and they took instead of going to the event y'all were looking forward to and planned for a long time to go, they took you to the hospital instead, and you missed the event and nothing was wrong with you.
Yeah. So
is that accurate?
That's flyover.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I at least got somewhat accuracy on the high level. I would love to hear from your point of view, which I have not yet.
Okay. All right. So, let's see. A few months before that Austin trip, I went to, maybe it was several months. Yeah, it was several months before because I was on the medication at that time. I had gone to the doctor in my hometown. I was living with my parents at the time, and fairly fresh out of all the faith stuff and not knowing who I was as a person anymore without it, and a relationship that I just had like finally crashing and burning really hard. I was like, I'm experiencing real depression for the first time in my life, and let's see about getting me some medication for this. And so I went with my mom to the doctor. Excuse me. And it was just like to do new patient paperwork so that I could get prescribed anxiety and depression medication.
Okay.
So that's why I was there. And I had to get blood work done for my new patient work.
Okay.
Right? And up until that point, I kind of grew up a lot throughout high school and college, like donating blood because I felt like I should, because it was a good thing. It always made me nervous. I hated needles. I still hate needles. I don't know anyone that loves needles. That'd be weird, but I hate needles.
Okay.
And I had stopped giving blood eventually, even though I felt like it was my spiritual duty to do so, because it made me so nervous. I like couldn't eat that day if I was going to be doing it. And I was like, I knew I'd be fine, like in my head, but I couldn't like convince my body that everything would be fine.
And you hadn't even taken the medication yet, right?
Oh, yeah, this is years before that.
Okay.
So, I'd stopped giving blood, like as of a few years at that point,
Okay.
because I hate needles so much.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And so then I found out I had to get blood work to like be a new patient at this clinic, and I got like real cold and clammy like shortly after they put the needle in. I started squeezing.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, could I get a Gatorade?" And then I woke up and people were asking me who the president is, how old I am,
Wow,
what
really?
year it is, yeah. And I was like, "What?" Like there were like 3 doctors around me, and I'm like, I feel like whenever I went to sleep or whatever, this wasn't happening. And they explained to me that I just had a grand mal seizure, which is like one of the most intense types that you can have. Apparently, it wasn't for super long, but
You're
it
like
like
convulsing and stuff?
yeah.
Damn, dude. And you don't remember any of that, right? 'Cause
No,
you
not
were-
at all.
Yeah.
I just like woke up.
Shit.
And so, they asked my like mom afterwards, like, "Do you have a history of epilepsy in your family or anything?" She's like, "No." And they figured it was probably an anxiety-induced seizure.
Wow.
But which apparently can happen to people that don't have epilepsy.
Yeah.
But they decided to do an EEG just to make sure. I went and got a CAT scan right after. I'm not sure that really showed anything, but it was just recommended after what my body.
They asked you to
brain
take
just
your
went
pants
through.
off, and you did it, but they said, all right, put it back on. They didn't even test you.
I went in a wheelchair to get a CAT scan after like essentially I thought I had a nap and woke up tired. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. But some doctors came to my house a couple weeks later and hooked up like electrodes to my head, and I had like this huge, it looked like one of the first fucking Game Boys like attached to me for I promise this is all part of it. It is the reason that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went
no,
to the,
it's fine, man.
So
But nothing was wrong? They couldn't find anything?
well, the weird thing is, there's a lot of weird things about it, but they did the 72-hour EEG test. So like my brain activity was being observed over 72 hours. They put cameras everywhere that I like primarily was in my house. And for 72 hours, they took data over what my brain was doing. And I didn't notice anything different during that time. It was just like, I feel like I look like the fucking Ex Machina chick. Had like wires, and there's like, I had a skull cap that had electrodes under it and stuff. And didn't seem like anything really different. And then a couple weeks later, the test results came back, and it said there was intermittent seizure activity going on in my brain throughout that 72 hours.
Interesting.
And I was like, how could that be happening and I not be aware of it?
Yeah, that's really strange.
And it turns out that's not as uncommon as I thought or as really anybody thinks. And there's lots of different types of seizures. Some affect your conscious state and some don't, which is really weird because, like, for frame of reference, the only thing I knew about seizures was I grew up playing games saying, like, if you have seizures, don't play this game in the whatever. That's all I knew about
That's
it.
the thing I don't ever read and just wait,
Exactly.
like press X faster to get past it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. One day that shit's going to catch up to me.
I don't know. But so the results showed that, and we were all very confused. We're like, I don't, that's weird. Let's get a second opinion. And so they reached out to a neurologist in spring who sent his own team of people out to my house to do another EEG a couple months later, and another 72-hour observation thing. And a couple weeks later, the test came back as identical to the first test. So
Oh.
we're like, okay, so I've had seizure activity going on in my brain for probably a long time.
It was just a normal thing for you. But you
I-
never experienced a seizure like that day at the blood work.
I had never known that I didn't know you could have seizures and not know it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could have that
Apparently,
going on
dude,
in
you
your
can
brain.
have strokes and not know it.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So, from this point, I got on seizure medication, and to the point where it was like my parents were skeptical about it, and then the neurologist, I have it on a voice recording of the neurologist saying like, okay, don't put him on the medication, and one day when he's driving, he'll have a seizure and like kill everybody on the road. Like,
Jeez.
yeah, he got us like serious about it.
But then you took it. Then you start taking it.
And I started taking it.
Okay.
And so I was on like a Depakote as of like a year and a half when I went to South by Southwest with Jake and Peach.
Oh, that's a. What was that serotonin uptake inhibitor? Like, what is that SRI?
No, it's not SSRI. It's
SSRI, yeah.
I'm trying to remember the exact name. I know it was a Depakote, which is like
Is it mood
classified-
stabilizer?
It's for seizures. Like
Okay.
It's
To control the electrical impulses in the brain,
Yes.
right? Okay. Oh, but you were on that when you took the edible.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like it could be very problematic.
Well, the neurologist that I had was like, people can have seizures while doing anything, but there are some things that like maybe you should do less of or stay away from if you're going to be on this medication. And he was like, pretty much, like, you don't like need to drink that much. You don't need to like experiment with substances with this going in your system. And I had just not had any problems up to that point. And so the thing was, I just had a too high experience for the first time, because exactly what happened is we hadn't eaten anything in a 4.5 hours. Me and Jacob walked around and kind of like sweated just walking around.
Yeah.
And then we got back to his truck, and he had these like sour strip edibles that were like this long that he got from someone in Colorado or something. And they're supposed to be pretty potent, but I didn't know a limit at that point. I didn't have one.
How many did you eat?
Huh?
How many did you eat?
Just one, but like the whole
It's
thing.
a whole thing, yeah.
And then I was taking hits of like his wolf like pen,
Jeez, man.
and I was like,
And you weren't a regular smoker.
No. So the thing I trapped myself in was like, I don't really know how to take hits, so I've got to take more to make sure like I get something, because I'm not inhaling right anyway.
Yo.
And so I took an edible and then like 7 to 8 hits of his pen. And then we're like, let's go get some food before we go find Peach. And walking over to the restaurant, I like, as we walked up to the restaurant, my world just like started melting. And I was like, bro, oh my God. And Jake's like, hey, you're just really high. Like, you're okay. Let's go inside.
At least
sit
you
down and
had
get some
him
food.
there to help with that.
I did. But as we sat down in this Mexican restaurant and got like chips and salsa and shit, have you ever heard Jake say the salsa isn't green or whatever? It's referencing this.
Okay.
Because he told me things during that time when I was really high that he's like, you just need to focus on concrete things, right? Like the salsa is green. And my fucking brain that just dissects everything, I'm like, color's just a reflection of light. That's not real. That's not helping at all.
My green is not your green, and we can't prove
right,
that.
Right, sure. And Jake was really fucking high at the time. He was still trying to calm me down, but then when I told him, like, I feel like my heart is going to explode. And he's like, dude, you're just too high. Calm down. Then I took his hand and put it on my chest, and he's like, oh my God.
Was he fucking with you?
No.
He actually felt your chest like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was really freaking out. Too high himself as well. Just more experience with it. So we sat at the table and I'm like, dude, I feel like I need to, like, the last time I felt like this or close to like this, I had a seizure shortly after. And he's like, what, do you need to, like, you're going to be fine. I'm like, I feel like I need to see a doctor. And he's like, I don't know if we can do that, man. I'm like, I need to see a doctor now. Like,
jeez.
and all that he knew is that I had a seizure fairly recently
So
and
he
was
took
on
it
seizure
seriously.
medication.
Yeah.
And at the time, whether or not this was like a real risk, he was like, this could fuck us up, dude, because like his wife didn't know that he was like getting that high, and no one in my life knew that I was experimenting with
So it
stuff.
would kind of expose information that y'all kind of avoided exposing at that point.
Yeah,
right?
because they would need to know insurance and shit.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is Jake drove me to the hospital. I called my girlfriend at the time to help me like calm down on the way there.
Taylor?
No.
Okay.
I
I was just wondering. You don't have to. Yeah. I was wondering.
It was someone else. But we got to the hospital and they just laid me down and shot me up with saline, and I took a nap. And Jake had to call my mom to get the insurance information.
Oh, no.
And
Did he tell her what happened?
I think so. I don't 100%
Was she upset?
remember. Probably.
Okay.
My mom is not.
What were you guys supposed to see? Was it your birthday?
No, it was Peach went to see someone we did go to see later in Houston.
He is legend?
But no, it was he was in this band called the Show Ponies, but it was his solo project. I can't remember the name of it now, and I'll hate myself for it later. But yeah, he went and saw them, and he went and saw this other band. Oh my god, I can't remember them either. They start with the Y. It was like an Americana kind of showcase.
Yeah.
And
That's fun. I wonder if you would have calmed down after listening to the music, you know?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, and I have such a history of like, this might be okay, but I can't stop focusing on it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
No, it's difficult, man. And
Yeah.
you took something that even semi-experienced people who consume that type of substance on a regular basis probably stay at home to take. You know, Jake's not the best example of a casual. He's not. He's more like
dude.
He's
a veteran. He's a fucking veteran.
He's a veteran. He can function on lots of that. But anyone else would take a whole edible like that and have to just be couch locked.
And I'd never had an edible
Yes.
at the time.
And that shit.
I didn't know how hard, like how much they sneak up on you.
Dude, that shit hits different.
Oh god.
Yeah.
It fucked
I actually
me
feel
up,
bad.
dog.
That sucks. Just to be in like a fucking city that's not your home, 3 hours away from everything, with people, and a social obligation that you made a commitment to, and now the world is melting.
Yes.
I get it, girl. I'm for it, man. That sucks.
And apparently,
Thanks for humanizing yourself with that story, because I only knew that you fucked up the trip, but it sounds like it's a lot more involved than that.
both are true.
Yeah.
I did fuck up the trip.
Hey, who would you didn't know? You didn't know,
true.
and plus the you're on medication. I would have been freaked out too if that shit happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and literally, like, there was some. It felt like it mixed with like old Christian guilt with real stuff my neurologist has said. Was like, this is happening to me because I didn't obey my
Yeah,
neurologist.
that's
Like,
dude. The worst
dude.
thing you could do when you're high at that point is make meaning of it, because there is
yeah,
no
that's
meaning
true.
of it. You know what I mean? It's tough, and it's tough in the moment to do something like that. But you can't make it mean something like that. Then it just becomes a fixation and a prophecy that you just made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like with how like devout I was growing up with Christian stuff, everything was that meaningful.
Yeah.
all the time.
And when your brain's engineered to think like that, right? Like it's
Yes.
easy, especially in that kind of vulnerable emotional spot, to just
Yep.
gravitate towards that.
and it felt like a consequence.
Yeah.
of-
Well, dude, just so you know, God punished you, and you should have felt like that.
as
so.
he should have. Fuck
Yeah.
him, but also, yeah. So that's the awesome. And then apparently we went to a restaurant afterwards after the ER because Peach came to the ER, and
It was a whole different trip.
Yeah,
You had
it
a whole
was.
different trip.
It turned into a
and
whole
nothing
different
was
thing.
wrong is the worst about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that sucks, dude.
I mean,
you did the
technically
right
nothing
thing
was
though,
wrong.
because you could have had a seizure, but
Yeah.
generally, like, you were cognizant the entire time, right? And from your previous experience with seizures, you lost consciousness,
Yes.
basically. But hey, man, damn, thanks for explaining. And that's super bright eyes of you, just so you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you just bright eyes the hell out of that, and I don't even know what that means.
It means what it means.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's fucking wild. Yeah, I can't. That's a crazy story. Shit.
And thinking about it later, I was like, okay, so people can develop epilepsy after like traumatic incidents. People can come out of car accidents and develop epilepsy, physical trauma. But I was like, what is the likelihood that like my trauma from faith shit was so intense that like it manifested itself out of my body in this kind of way?
I mean,
like,
it's possible.
Maybe. I don't know.
Unresolved
I just have
things.
no other thing to ascribe to it.
My experience with pot, like, cause like, okay, so when I was younger, I smoked a decent amount, like in my early 20s, you know, and I took a break for like years, right? And so after the break, when I tried to go back to it, I reacted really negatively to it. Like, I would have panic attacks after one hit. I couldn't, it was bad. And I was like, why could I do it back then so much and not have the same reaction? And my theory, which has no fucking actual, like, it's just my experience, right? It's just like, I think what I did over those years was I learned kind of how to avoid some emotions that I was maybe not confronting and facing. And later now in life, when I ever do consume that type of substance, you know what I mean? I think I'm a little bit more okay with just sitting in the emotions. And so pot doesn't affect me adversely like that, because pot it amplifies the emotions. You could fixate on the emotions, and it's easy to be afraid of your emotions, the negative ones, when you're high. And to me, it just, I don't know. It's like, it's a kind of thing, like your relationship with your emotions has something to do with how you enjoy that type of substance. That's my experience. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And I've heard the same thing about mushrooms for years.
Oh, really? Yeah. And they're kind of, they seem similar. I've never done that, but
I haven't either.
yeah.
But I've heard like it can open you up, but also like
The journey there is a little rough, maybe.
I've heard like the way you go into it is important, which was like, to me, because eventually, like after that trip to the hospital, I could not enjoy any substance at all.
Yeah.
It all freaked me the fuck out. And I tried a lot, but eventually it just got to feel like I was rolling dice that were loaded against me.
Yeah.
Like over and over and over. And eventually it got to the point where I felt about substances in general, but especially pot, the way that people that had smoked for years felt about it. Were like, yeah, eventually it just made me nervous. I'm like, yeah, I got high and enjoyed it like 3 times before it all made me nervous all the time, and I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. Like, I think I've heard the same kind of thing from people. Like, it's a general, like, yeah, like after a while, it just kind of makes you panicky, no matter what, right? Yeah, it just kind of puts you on edge.
At first it calms you down, and eventually it amplifies the like paranoia, especially paranoia.
Yeah, and then you're
hanging out with Jake. I've seen some real dude. We walked. I was probably on that fucking Austin trip. We stopped by a gas station and walked into into the gas station to get a drink or something. And he was like, "There's a cop right there. Don't look at him." I'm like, "That's not gonna." How would that do any of these? Like,
in Austin, smoking pot is probably the least thing the cops care about.
Yeah.
Because of all the crazy shit that people do in that city, you know?
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Bright eyes. Oh, I do want to talk about the concert experiences I've had.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because, well, first off, thank you for sharing all that.
Absolutely.
I'm glad. I'll bill you later. You have an HMO, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I have an HMO.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're like, yes, I have an HMO.
You
John.
know what
I have
do.
a 401k. Don't worry about it. I'm an adult. I invest in crypto. Yeah. So I've seen. I wanted to see Bright Eyes a lot more than I have, and. The first time I saw him was actually the Conroe Burst and Phoebe Bridgers, and a big part of that was because I wasn't really into concerts when I was a younger like adult. I didn't get into it heavier until I could appreciate what concerts meant to me and about the live music experience, which I'm super into live music now, but I wasn't back then. I think the records were good for me back then. But I saw Phoebe Bridgers and Conor Oberst in San Francisco do the Better Oblivion Community Center tour, and that was amazing. It was great. But I did notice Conor Oberst tends to be a little inebriated on stage. And after a little further research and subsequent concerts that I've attended, it confirms the theory that, yeah, this dude is a little sloppy on stage. Why he does it, I'm unsure. Maybe it's nerves or something, but he generally seems pretty drunk or something every time he's on stage. So he had a concert in 2022 that me and Jasper bought tickets to. And Jasper was like, first on the fence.
Wait, is this the White Oak?
Yeah.
The White Oak show?
Yeah.
I heard about this, dude.
So me and Jasper actually align a lot on the music. We listen to a lot of the same types of music and appreciate it for a lot of the same reasons. Cool. Actually, out of all of our friends group, me and him probably have the most closest taste in music than anyone else I have in comparison.
You fuck with Copeland too?
No, actually, that's one band that he loves that I haven't began to listen to, but because I trust his taste in music, I wanted to give Copeland a shot, but I haven't yet. Me Without You as well. I haven't got into them yet, and I know that y'all all like Me Without You.
I'm probably the least into Me Without You out of the friend group.
I know Patrick's into it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's big.
BJ and Jake both cite them as an influence for them, and I
Julian Baker cites them as an influence as well.
Really?
Yeah, that's apparently cool. It's one of her major ones. Yeah.
One of my another one she cited as a big influence is David Bazan, Pedro the Lion.
Oh yeah, Pedro the Lion. Yeah.
One of my favorite artists of all time. The artist that me and my favorite, like the singer-songwriter, the guy that I had on here, I was so excited about. The artist we talked about was essentially Pedro the Lion.
Oh, sick, man.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
They're on friendly. They're not like they don't hang out all the time, but like they meet up when they can.
Yeah.
And so I got to like hear about personal conversations they had together.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Best person bad.
But yeah, so me and Jasper bought tickets to the concert. We show up, I buy a sweatshirt, and then we go in there and we're waiting. The opening act is pretty good. I forgot what the band's name was, but the opening act was pretty good. And when the lead singer of the opening act was saying they were thanking the Bright Eyes for the tour, I just noticed some like hesitance in her voice. Oh. And maybe I was reading into it. But I'm pretty sure, and I have it just like, it seemed like a tense admiration. Like maybe the tour wasn't that great vibe-wise. The tour was also extensive, dude. When I say like, he had like 15 to 20 musicians on the stage. He had a choir basically. And then he had like trumpets and fucking a violinist, like, for like it wasn't just him and his band. Like it was a whole ensemble. It was like orchestral.
Was this touring Down in the Weeds? Was that the year that this came out?
No, it was after that. He was touring his companion release albums. So it was basically like an anniversary tour, not advertised at that. He just did a set list of the new versions of his hits and songs that he's done over the years. So that's what he did. Yeah. And finally he got on stage. He delayed it like 45 minutes and he got on stage, and I say this man was drunk. He was fucking shit-faced, dude. Like he was stumbling. He was dressed in like pajamas. I fucking kid you not. And he had a water bottle, and I don't know if there was even water in it. It was like a water bottle, but I'm sure there was something else in it. For context, he had just come from ACL the night before performing, and maybe he got down and dirty in Austin. But he starts playing the first song. Literally, he just starts playing it, and then after 20 seconds, his water bottle drops off the piano that he's playing, and all I see is him stop playing, slowly look at it, and just contemplating its existence. Like, that's how drunk he was. Like, oh, what is that? Like, his reaction time was so slow. And then he just walks off stage. And we don't know what's going on. Mike Mogus and Nate Walcott.
This is like into the first song.
Into the first song. Dude, he's not even a minute into the first song. And Nate.
What was the first song? Do you know?
I forgot. It's off I'm Wide Awake. It was one of the songs. It was, what's the one I missed? I skipped. on the 7th. The 7th.
Landlocked Blues?
Yeah, not Landlocked. It was Landlocked. I think it was Landlocked Blues. Anyway,
I don't know. I haven't even
it was A Lover I Don't Have to Love. It was actually from Lifted.
From Lifted.
Yeah, so so he walks off. No one knows what's going on. Mike Mogus and Nate Walcott and then the rest of the choir were all kind of like biding time. They were just standing around like, what the fuck happened? And then after a while, they walked off stage. And then after maybe like 15, 20 minutes of silence, the whole band walked off stage. So now no one's on stage. And then Mike Mogus comes up and then he's like, hey guys, just so you know, sorry, there's a delay. We're waiting for Connor to get back in just a few moments. And I got that from that interaction. Mike Mogus is not a front man. He's not really, he didn't even seem like a public speaker kind of guy. So he was like struggling to kind of convince the audience that everything was okay, especially because in his mind, he didn't even know if everything was okay. And then he never came back on. He never walked out from the back. The show, like literally, dude, we waited for another 40 minutes and nothing happened. Eventually, the other members of the band, they started bringing people up to sing Bright Eyes karaoke.
Whoa.
Like literally picking people from the audience to sing songs. And then they had their phones out. They got this girl randomly who came up on stage and started belting out first day of my life and all this stuff. And it was really sad.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was sad for me. It's almost like I listen to Bright Eyes and a lot of the music I listen to help navigate very tough emotional times and feelings, or I have in the past. And to see someone who was so inextricably linked to a lot of the healing that I've gone through hurt so badly and just like be just so incomprehensibly inebriated that he can't even go on stage and perform was really sad. I actually took a really sad. I had like some trauma after that. I'm a sensitive ass bitch though. I get trauma for fucking stupid shit. But anyway, like he never came out. I felt really, really bad about it. Jasper's like, I'm never seeing Bright Eyes again. And then it ended. And then a year later he had a reunion tour. And he hit all the spots in Texas that it seemed that he didn't perform well at. And I went to it and he actually performed and he explained to the audience, I don't know if it's true, but the reason why he walked out that night, he was so drunk, he walked outside and walked to a bar and started drinking with the patrons there. Whoa. Yeah, so that's what he said was the story. Anyway, that's the Bright Eyes fiasco story. I'll never forget that concert.
Yeah. I remember like, I think I saw an article about that and I think it was something about him promising to reimburse people for
the White Oak concert.
Yeah.
He did. We got the venue at least did. They refunded us. It was like $80. They refunded it. I was just upset because that was actually the first time I was going to see him by himself, and Bright Eyes. And it was really, crazy. I was looking forward to that concert for like months. Yeah. And it was unfortunate. It was more unfortunate because I really felt bad. He seemed like he was going through something. It didn't just seem like a drunk thing. I don't know for sure. It may have just been a drunk thing. Like that's how kind of celebrities are. You kind of have to conjecture about the context of beyond what you see in the eye. Right. But it's, it sucked. But then when he came back and we saw him, it was great. And I'll see him again. This tour for 5 Dice, he's actually skipping Houston. And I don't know if that's his personal choice. He did when he came back on stage, dude, he kept spitting on stage. Like when he did the second tour to make up for it, he would start talking about like Republican politicians in Texas and then spit on the floor. And I kid you not, he was saying all this fucking shit. He started talking shit about Harry Styles. It was hilarious. He had these fucking 10-minute monologues in between his 5-minute songs, just talking shit about everything. And it was interesting. It was great. It was great.
Honestly, I wouldn't have pegged him as someone that talks a lot between his songs.
I don't know if he always did, but he does a lot.
That's cool.
In the recent tours, yeah.
I'm the kind of person that appreciates that.
Yeah, you do. You say things of value in between songs. You provide context or you make jokes, and it lands well. You do that well when you perform.
Thanks.
Yeah. What is cool about that second show? I was with Yuli at the time, and we saw Good Looks, which is this band from Austin. This kind of like this cool little this. I don't even know what genre they are. I think they're like southern rockish kind of shit. It's very stark in contrast to the type of music I generally listen to. Like it's kind of like upbeat, kind of like badass rock and shit. Like I don't know how to fucking explain it. They're really fucking good though. And they actually became a band that I follow now and that Yuli follows as well. And we saw them they played Axelrad. And we saw them, and we wanted to go to Austin to see them last time, but we didn't get a chance to. But yeah, so that was a positive that came out of it. I found a new band that I really like, a local band.
That's awesome.
Semi-local, yeah. Anyway.
Honestly, I think it would have been, as much as it would have been ultimately a disappointment, but to see like fans get up and do karaoke of the artist that's supposed to be out there,
dude, it's hilarious.
It would be something that like. So me and Kendall went and saw. Have you heard of the Rocket Summer? Any chance? So it's another project that's like, the guy has a band, but he pretty much makes all the songs.
Okay.
And there was one moment where he was in his hometown of Dallas doing like the last show of that tour, and he was taking requests from the audience. And at one point, someone asked for a song, and he was like, honestly, I don't remember how that one goes. Could I see your phone? And he Spotified his own song
to read the lyrics,
to listen to it.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, who else gets to see this? This is cool. And I would feel, I imagine I would feel that way about seeing people like come up and sing the artist's songs.
Dude, you know what's funny? He did it again at the second show, but this time he brought people up to do Bright Eyes Karaoke.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
that's a cool redemption.
Yeah,
arc,
dude, exactly. Yeah. Redemption arc. And then him and the band members, they were like dancing, having fun. Like he was like, you know, like when two guitarists on stage like get really close with the guitars to jam out together while they're playing and stuff. And then while the person was singing the songs and stuff, it was actually really good. He gave us a free hat and a free bag and a free badge. Damn. And I like swag.
Yeah.
So, you know what it is, because those sweatshirts are expensive, like that merch is expensive. That shit ain't cheap. What's the favorite show you've gone to? I know you've gone to a lot.
Oh God. You might as well ask me
what's your favorite
what
TV
lyric
show?
I would get tattooed.
Oh shit. Damn, dude. You're like all of them.
I don't know. They all have like, one of them was, my favorite show.
Like I saw Steve from Blue's Clues live. That shit was fucking crazy.
I've seen some weird shows. I might have to say, this is my dead air part.
La.
My favorite show. Okay, that's tough because there's a lot of different categories of that.
Pure energy vibe.
Pure energy?
Like pure energy. Don't even think about the objective reality. Think about the internal feelings that arose where you're just like, this is bliss.
This will sound insane, but
Taylor Swift?
No.
Oh.
The Eras Tour was amazing,
okay.
But no. Energy-wise, I would say either He Is Legend or Oh Sleeper.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Oh Sleeper.
So Oh Sleeper is a like Christian metal hardcore band for back in the day. I don't know how Christian they are at this point, but they were a band I fucked hard with growing up, and that show, I was in college. And I did stage dives for the first time.
Wow. That's dope, man.
I hit the ground hard a couple times and I kept doing it.
You missed the crowd.
Oh yeah.
You just
missed me. We put a chick in a wheelchair up and surfed her through the crowd.
And that was before the show.
Oh man. Energy wise, I would say probably because the lead singer Micah Kennard was. Like, it was his birthday show, and it was in Dallas, and he's from Dallas. It was at the Door. And energy-wise, I would say, I guess that. But as far as, like, the entire show, the lineup was killer the whole time. That's one I'd have to think harder about. But one of my favorite shows I've ever been to ended up costing me a lot of money because I broke my glasses at the show.
Oh, it sucks.
Um,
Was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
Who was it?
He's Legend.
Oh, that is that show. Okay.
Yeah, and it was the last show that I saw before the pandemic.
Wow. Oh, so that was kind
It
of
was-
recent, semi-recent.
Yeah,
5
it
years
was
ago.
it was at the old Warehouse Live location, and literally I was like, it's so weird to think because of what COVID became, but it was like some people are sick. There's something going around. Should I go to this? I don't know.
I
And
heard
I'm
there's a
like,
new flu out or
Yeah.
something like that. And
I'm like, some people are sick in Colorado or whatever the fuck. I'm like, I'll probably be fine. And so I went and I got so fucking. That's where if you see me wear like a yellow shirt that has a white bat on it, that's
Yeah.
when I got that shirt.
okay.
And it was a great time. But I did like I was banging my head so hard I threw my glasses off and. I was like, oh, look for him after. The rest of the show was blurry for me, but it was fucking awesome.
You're like, I'll figure it out.
And I did not figure it out. They were gone.
That's actually fucking.
Actually, I did get them back, and they
Dude.
were broken.
Okay.
They were broken.
I can't even imagine, dude. I would be stopped. I'm like, I need to see these glasses. And you're like, the glasses are on the floor with a couple people moshing. I'll figure it out later. Don't worry about it. You're funny, man. That's
well,
funny.
also like that the crowd for that band is such like a living thing. Like you can't. There's no like, let me get out of this crowd real quick and go look for something. Like you're in it. You're stuck in it. Energy wise, I guess those. But then there are other like I've seen some house shows that were really fucking.
Oh, house
great.
shows are good, dude. I've seen some dubstep shows that are
Really?
memorable. Yeah, so there's this venue in it's still there, but they renovated it and they kind of rebranded. It's called Webster Hall, and it's in East Village. And it was this venue that had someone always going on Friday, Saturday night, and it had 3 floors, and they always booked 3 different shows at each floor. Generally different genres, but I saw some dope ass. I saw Skrillex there. I saw this dubstep artist named Getter. My friend was huge into it, and he was my roommate at the time in Brooklyn. And we would always go to these shows because he was super into it. Funny enough, he lost his. He had like fake front teeth that he could just take out, and he lost his. He fell out of his mouth, and he during the show
He kept going.
No, during the show, because he didn't have any money. So during the show, he's like, he gets other people to help him search on the ground for it, and he finds the teeth. But anyway, that was a side thing. I think,
That's amazing.
yeah, dude. I also saw Joey Badass several times when he first came up. Are you familiar with Joey?
I'm familiar with. I've never heard anything by Joey Badass.
Yeah, Joey
I just know
Badass is.
awesome.
I love Joey's music. I've been a fan since he first dropped. His first mixtape was 1999. It was called, and it was all on MF Doom beats. Most of them from MF Doom beats that he got from Herbs and Spices or.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. So Joey always has a special place in my heart for like his music is just it was really 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 exceptional. But he had that energy, just like dude, this young kid from Brooklyn just had this raw fucking star energy that you don't see a lot of people just carry with such confidence and vigor, and he did, and he deserves all the recognition and stuff for all the stuff he did. He actually has a new song that's just dropped recently, and it's pretty dope. It kind of goes back to his roots. But my favorite show, energy wise, would be I saw the Shins at
Wow.
at White Oak, and you don't think the Shins would be that
don't
type of
at
show,
all.
right? Yeah, you think, oh, those fucking snowflakes, but they were I don't know. It was a packed house in White Oak, and it was their 20th anniversary tour. They were doing "Caring Is Creepy," that whole album, or Inverted World. So that anyway, it was just like they encored, and at their encore, there was just this peak moment where every single person was screaming in like coordination with the music, and they performed the song Sleeping Lessons from Wincing the Night Away, and they transitioned the middle of it into Tom Petty's American Girl.
Oh, wow.
And then they transitioned back into sleeping lessons at the end. And there was something about that just made the crowd go super wild. Like it was just, I'll never forget that concert for as long as I fucking live. It was like very special to me, that concert. Yeah. I went by myself too, and I was completely sober the entire time. So it was a good time. Yeah.
Sick. What year was that?
I was still living with Patrick. So like, I think 2022. I think the same year that Bright Eyes failed. It
That was a
is
big
because
year
I'm
for
like,
you, dude.
yeah, because I'm like, and the first time I saw the Shins too, and I was a lifelong fan. But I was like, Conroe Burst didn't make it, but at least I got the Shins this year. I remember, yeah.
Was the Shen show after the?
It was after,
Okay,
yeah.
so it was
Wait,
like, I need a win, dude.
I don't remember if it was after, but I got a win, and I was thinking that, like, I did need a win, and I it's like at least I got that. And it was better. It was better than Bright Eyes' second thing that I saw.
Wow.
It's still there. It's still my favorite concert. I always want to see the Decembers too. I never got a chance to see them. Yeah.
Damn, that's amazing. It makes like I've never heard a song by the Shins as far as I know, but
California Love is by them.
damn.
California Love.
Yeah,
Dun, dun,
absolutely.
dun, dun. Yeah.
That sounds like their vibe.
Yeah.
Sounds like The Cure.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Man, that's cool. That's your favorite show
Yeah.
that you've been to.
You ever listen to Killers?
I am a super casual fan of The Killers.
Their most. I think it's the most.
My
recent
favorite
album.
karaoke song is by The Killers, but
Is it like their
it's-
classic?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It, like
Mr. Brightside.
no,
Okay. All right.
it's Spaceman.
Spaceman.
Yeah,
I don't know that. I'm not familiar.
really.
Yeah, I'm not a huge big fan of them, but their most recent album, let me just pull it up.
It was on a mix CD that I got from a girl in high school, along with a couple other Killer songs, and that's the majority of Killer songs that I know.
Is it
This
what?
one.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's the Star Maker says it ain't so bad.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna make. I'm like,
Okay, I know that
you
song.
can convert a crowd to be a fan of this song, like that never heard it before.
So in 2021, they came out with this album called Pressure Machine.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good, and actually Patrick turned me onto it. And there's the song "Quiet Town" about the opioid epidemic in like these southern kind of kind of isolated suburban towns, and it's really good. I didn't realize that fucking the Killers' biggest influence was like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, dude.
I had no idea because I only
I
knew
knew that about Brandon Flowers.
Yeah.
And just like, I think he's a big Johnny Cash fan as well. Like, he's
Yeah, you can definitely hear those influences in his music. You know, his early stuff, like his singles, like "Mr. Brightside" and all those. It is "Mr. Brightside," right? That's the name of it. Yeah, all those songs, like they're just so poppy. You don't think of them as like of that. But then when I heard this music, that album specifically, I heard the fucking Springsteen all over the place. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I remember. There's one song that I like heard from that and like saw the video of, I think. And I was like, oh shit, I should listen to this whole album. And then I didn't. It was from Pressure Machine, I think.
Oh, it was?
No. It's from Imploding the Mirage. God damn it. I don't know. I don't know what album it's from. I don't even remember the name of the song at this point. Yeah, I thought I heard a song by them that came out fairly recently. But now I don't know what I could even say about it. I just remember like hearing this and
You
going
should
like,
just make
oh
some
yeah.
shit up about it.
Oh, I should.
Yeah, you should. Just completely just.
It's like I could totally hear the Springsteen influence in this.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I feel like I did. I just don't remember how at this point.
Yeah.
Where were we?
We're all over the place. I'm
We're
for
all
it
over
though,
the
dude.
place.
Yeah, man. It was fun. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna upload this as Bright Eyes with John Elliott, but it might be Bright Eyes with John Elliott Part 1. We'll just see if
Let's
there's a
fucking
part
do
2.
it. Yeah, I want
Hell
you to
yeah.
let me cherry pick like I'll make it reasonable. 10 songs, right? That are my favorite.
Oh, okay.
And then from all their albums, including his stuff. And then it's a lot more easy for you to digest. And some and some, cause like I said, dude, you listen to like 6 full, dense fucking albums in a couple short weeks in the middle of doing other stuff. So it's difficult to, to really get into something like that quickly. But I'm really glad that it did have like the impact that it had with you. You know?
I was telling Jake earlier, I'm like, I like it. I like the vibe of Bright Eyes, kind of obviously, given the kind of shit that I write and that I'm into. But honestly, it was like, I'm going to listen through these so that we can talk about them on the thing. But like recently, I've been like, I wish I could have like a really long drive to listen through all of these, just like straight through.
Do you know?
That's like, that's my favorite thing to like experience an album for the first time while I'm driving.
Fuck yeah, because you can only focus on the music.
Yeah,
dude. I did that. I forced so Yuli, when we drove up to Charlotte. We drove up to Charlotte, and I literally, she was open to it. I didn't like force it, but like I'm like, we should just listen to every single Bright Eyes album that they have. Whoa. And we did that, and it was just a way to focus on it. Even I was like, oh shit, like I was hearing things I didn't hear before and stuff, it was great.
Is Yuli a fan?
She is now.
Oh,
yeah.
After that trip?
And honestly, the biggest thing that made her a fan was seeing him live. She's like, before when I listened to music, like I kind of got it, and it was like it didn't hit. But then seeing him in person, because he's super charismatic, and dude, he's like the type of person where he's just like, he's there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's difficult to explain. There are some people I meet in my life where when they're talking, there's just them. And he just seems like that type of energy, when he's gone on stage. And it worked, because she was like, I get it. I get all this shit now. And like, it made her appreciate the albums a lot more. And now she listens to it, she listens to it on her own. She's a fan.
Damn.
Yeah.
I feel that way about the Rocket Summer, the band that like, they're kind of around this room. Kendall's a huge. She's
into them too.
Friends with his wife. Like,
wow.
And he's considered one of the like anthem writers of our generation by Rolling Stone. Like, it's kind of a.
That's crazy.
Thing.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
That's cool that she like shares in that.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah, I love it. I think that at least every week for the past 10 years, I've probably listened to at least one song by him. Just because like I'm also a creature of habit with music sometimes. Yeah. Like I said, when I find a new song, like I say like a year to 2 years ago, I got into Pine Grove. I don't know if you're familiar with Pine Grove. Yeah. I am super into Pine Grove. In fact, my Spotify recap, the unwrap at the end of the year last year said I'm in the 0.005% of Pine Grove fans.
Damn.
I had no idea.
So one of my favorite concert footage videos I've ever seen is like I was getting into Pine Grove and I found this. They did a show at like this Unitarian church. And
I think I saw the advertised on YouTube. I didn't see it.
Dude, the energy from that show made me a Pine Grove.
Really?
Fan. Just watching it on YouTube.
That's sick, man.
It's amazing.
Dude, live, they're like, I never saw them like actually in person live, but the videos of them live music playing, what is it? They have an NPR Tiny Desk. And I'm saying, dude, I put that on repeat. Like, that shit was like every single fucking day. That shit just hit my soul when that dude sings. So, they're brilliant. They're very unique in like their kind of indie space. So it'd be cool. I heard the guys. I don't know like about the rest of the band members, but I've heard that guy specifically. He's a really nice person.
He seems like it'd be.
He just wants to eat a sandwich sometimes, Yeah. Yeah,
it
sucks because they got Me Too'd, but like apparently like under false pretenses. There was like a whole scandal with like an influencer or some shit. Like it was, it sucks. But yeah, they're amazing. I love Pine Grove.
The way I was introduced to Pine Grove,
not the TikTok thing, right?
Did
you hear about? There was like a Pine Grove. They had a reemergence in like the last 2 years on TikTok because there was a TikTok trend.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. I have no idea it was a thing until I asked my coworker who we share a lot of the same music, and I'm like, hey, Pine Grove? She's like, yeah. And the whole TikTok thing. And I'm like, What TikTok thing? You know? Yeah.
I don't know what the TikTok thing was. I know that there was one, and I know like seeing this band be such a huge deal to a lot of people was like, that's what happened. Like,
Yeah,
what's
fuck
going
yeah.
on?
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Fucking
But
love them.
the way I was introduced to Pine Grove was, I think Jake showed me Cadmium.
Oh hell yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is happening with this? Like it's like tripping over itself, but
Yeah.
purposefully, and the way like it builds on itself from just like, you know what I'm talking about. You've heard the song.
Yeah, no, but like that's actually interesting you think about that because like as a non-musician, I think I listen to songs probably a little differently or I
Yeah.
hear different things, you know?
Absolutely.
So I'm probably like in the popular realm where I'm definitely the lyrics are the forefront for me. You know what I mean? But when I talk to like Patrick or other people, like he'll be like, oh, the guitar. Like sometimes Patrick is funny because he just doesn't listen to lyrics sometimes at all. Like he'll just listen to the music. Like he told me that what's not cold. Yeah, I think what's the fucking not Coldplay. It's one of those who does fucking oh shit. Now it's my turn for dead silence.
Is it like radio rock? Like
Yeah,
Coldplay?
it's like radio rock like Coldplay.
Is it Imagine Dragons?
No, but it's like a super white band. Just like five white guys. Oh, I forgot. They have like a karaoke anthem that people sing. Dude, I cannot remember it for some reason. But think about something like Coldplay, and I'm like, and then he compared it to like the Decemberists, and he said they were like the same type of band.
Oh.
And I'm like, no, like on so many front. And I told someone else that, and they're like, what the fuck, is the guy crazy? And it's not that Patrick's crazy. It's just that he listens to music for totally different things. So when he's listening to the riffs and the chord progressions, they may actually indeed sound very similar, but the lyrics and the density and the dimensions of the poetry are completely different. So I noticed that about musicians, you know what I mean? When they listen to music, it's just different.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's new to me hearing the music first, because before I gave a shit about music, I was writing. And I grew up a writer and obsessed with lyrics, and so like when the fucking youth pastor was like, you put messages in your head, it was like I could hear those like loud and clear, and I would hear from other people like, I don't really listen to lyrics. I'm like, what do you mean you don't listen?
How do you not listen
They're
to
happening.
lyrics? Yeah.
Yeah. So I've thought lots of times listening through Bright Eyes stuff, I'm like, if I would have found even just I'm wide awake, it's morning at the time that you did, I think I would be I could have gone a very different way in life. Because I feel like I would have gravitated towards this at like.
I could see that,
that
man.
time.
Yeah, you would
I
have
would
been
at least have
an
been
angsty
very
atheist
interested.
before it was cool.
Well, I remember like
You would go to anti-Bush rallies with the rest of them.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
When I was a devout Christian, I remember like telling people like, I make better points against Christianity than atheists, like because I know it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm inside it.
You're an operative agent.
Yeah,
inside.
like you want to hear about like inconsistencies? I'm the person. But also it didn't like sink in for me until later. But yeah, listen through Bright Eyes, like the way that his stuff is so like from the beginning it's extremely lyrics focused, and then one of the things I noticed that I kind of noticed with Bob Dylan stuff is the like melodies that Conor Oberst will create will just like, it feels like he's pulling them out of nothing, because like as a musician I'll listen to it and go like, oh, so that's gonna go like this, and then it'll just keep going and keep going, and I'm like, oh shit, and that all totally works.
Yeah.
And now it's stuck in my head.
Yeah,
like,
no,
that's amazing.
that's
the way
dope.
he phrases stuff and the words that he uses.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Cryptic
he's a
poetry.
modern. Yeah,
dude. Like
existential
super,
poetry.
Yeah. No, it's that's pretty cool that as a musician you can kind of understand that. You know, I never even thought about that, like the sound design itself, but it is really complex. At a certain point, like especially in his somewhat later albums, like Casadega specifically, when I re-listen and I listen for the music, it's like an arcade of sounds, of just different multi-tracked sounds that blend together so well, and then also include these amazing lyrics with like melodies that match. It's pretty impressive.
I'm trying to remember if there's one song on, I think it's Casadega, that samples a baby crying and then just makes that an instrument in the rest of the song.
Oh, that's actually I think that's I Believe in Symmetry or Ship in a Bottle. I think it's Ship in a Bottle. That's on Digital Ash.
Is it on Digital Ash?
The baby crying is on Digital Ash.
It is on Ship in a Bottle.
Yeah, it's Ship in a Bottle. Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
That song is dope, man. I like that song. He redid that song in The Companion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really good. The new version is good. He also did Arc of Time and Goldmine Gutted. And those, I actually like the new Companion versions better than the original. Yeah, it's really good.
I'd like to hear what those sound like. Because I was like, earlier today, I was trying to. There's a playlist on Spotify of his Companion albums, and it just wouldn't come up. But also, my Spotify's been like shitty lately. Stuff just not loading. And so now I'm wondering, like, is it like streamable? But
it is, because I was listening to them today when I was in preparation for the meeting. I'll send you. I have my own playlist where I just added them all to it.
Bet.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just do that now. Because of phones.
We do have the technology.
Yeah, man.
I am gonna need to kick you out of my house.
It's okay. I actually need to kick
soon.
myself out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm tired.
And you drove 30 minutes to get here, dog.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It was worth it. It was just fun, man. Like I said, no one ever wants to talk about this shit.
My favorite thing is to, like, as someone that has always just wanted to talk about my favorite artists, my favorite thing is to hear what people have to say about their like bands and artists that they're really fucking into.
And you said it's mostly from people who you share the same enthusiasm for the band, right?
Until this point, yeah,
I'm the first.
You are the
very first, man.
This is a virgin episode.
Hopefully, I'm not your last.
This is a deflowering.
Yeah, dude, I deflowered you, man. So what's it about, baby? I hope I was gentle.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, that's funny,
but
man.
Don't be.
Yeah. This was great, man. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming and hanging out.
Yeah.
I'll show you the Springsteen thing I was talking about.
Yeah,
as soon as
I was supposed to
stop.
remind you, Adam. You weren't supposed to remind yourself.
I kept it. I'm more likely to remember things when I say them. So
okay. All right.
Since I said it,
you remembered it. Yeah. All right.
But
sweet.
yeah, man. Whether this is part one or part forever.
One thing I do want to say is rest in peace, David Lynch.
Oh yeah.
It is a sad day. Yeah.
Maybe now that you're dead, I'll actually watch one of your movies.
Oh wow.
No, I really have meant to over the year. Like my friend who introduced me to Twin Peaks.
You only watched a couple episodes, you said?
I only watched a few episodes of
Okay.
Twin Peaks. But ultimately, like, the first thing he showed me from anything David Lynch was the dream sequences of Twin Peaks.
Hell yeah.
And
Yeah.
that just became, like, one of my favorite things for years.
It's amazing. And it's always a special moment in the episode of Twin Peaks when you
Yeah.
see that, because you almost like, oh shit, we just got a glimpse of the real David Lynch. Because there's a whole context behind David Lynch with that show. He was working with the network executives at the time, and so he wanted to make a David Lynch film. And he was working. I think David Frost is the co-creator and stuff. So they were both making the show, but they had to also appease network television viewers. And so at every turn, David Lynch's textbook David Lynchian style was curbed to appease like a more mass market audience. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it makes the show bad. It makes the show different. But if you see I Am Fire Walk with Me, the movie that came out right after the show ended, it's pure Lynch.
Wow.
And it's super fucking cerebral and weird. Whereas Twin Peaks is digestible from kind of anyone can watch it and understand what's going on to a certain point, you know? So anyway, just want to end on that. R.I.P. David Lynch.
R.I.P. David Lynch. That's the new name of the episode.
Dude,
R.I.P.
fuck, that's the new name
David
of the
Lynch.
podcast, bro.
That's the new name of the podcast.
That's the new name of your band. Yeah.
That is the name
Yeah,
of the band.
hell yeah. All right, cut it.
All right.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Songs and Storytellers. Until next time, keep it real, but take it easy.
Quick, is it worth upgrading to Logic from GarageBand? Like, is it, for your purposes, do you really find a meaningful difference? Or do you not recall you really using GarageBand?
I don't know how much I know what I'm doing at this point, but I really had no idea what I was doing when I was using GarageBand.
Oh, okay.
So
I
have no idea.
And maybe going back now, it might be a little bit of a curve, especially because you've learned all the advanced features, all the advanced features. And now GarageBand probably is too simple.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.